Alrighty, welcome to episode 110 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. In what is a record number of cars that Tesla has recalled for safety reasons, nearly 1.1 million models S, 3, X and Y will have safety concerns over their electric windows applying excessive pressure when closing, addressed with a simple over-the-air software update automatically pushed to all cars in question. Tesla is set to further improve its energy app in the upcoming software update 2022.36. The revised app will provide a detailed breakdown of how energy is consumed in the car by various subsystems, including drivetrain and climate control, as well as including driving behaviour and environmental conditions. The app will then compare projected consumption against actual consumption and provide personalised suggestions on maximising efficiency. A fire in a cardboard and wooden crate processing area of Giga Berlin broke out early last Monday morning. The outside area, which is used to shred and store wooden crates and cardboard, is more than 500 metres from the nearest factory buildings, which at no stage were at risk of damage. Although approximately 800 cubic metres of material was burned, no structural damage or human injuries were reported. City of Albany council minutes have confirmed Tesla have been granted a lease for land to install a 6-stall supercharger at the corner of Festing Street and Residency Road next to Albany's old jail. Synergy's EV highway fast DC charger and AC backup are to be co-located in the same area. And that was this week's news. And that was a lot harder than it needed to be. Oop, go away, logo. Okay, after the third take that no one in YouTube saw, because this is the perfect version, welcome everyone. As customary, I'd like to invite anyone that's new to please introduce yourselves. So I think it was Richard that actually kindly said hello first. So I'll give you the first go, Richard.
No, you can't. There we go. Richard from Melbourne.
Welcome, Richard.
Thank you. So it's 9:45 here. So I might fall asleep, after midnight sometime. I'm intending to come across in my rear-wheel drive Tesla Model 3, probably March. But I've got a few intricacies that I need to tease out and get some advice on. The first one is the need for a spare tyre, as in a space saver of some sort. I'm not feeling terribly comfortable about going for the goop arrangement for obvious reasons. The second part is that I'm going to be coming along with my wife and my little Westie dog. So that's another layer of complication. I guess I'd like to be able to talk to someone who's perhaps done the trip, what sort of difficulties have been experienced, how readily available is the charging. I'm aware of all the different stations along the way, but how reliable are they, and general availability, and I guess just sage advice.
Okay, so you've definitely come to you've come to the right place. Very quickly, you can obviously drag a spare wheel. Pete and I, on our Round Australia lap a couple of weeks ago, took a modern spare with each of us.
Yep.
And dutifully returned it back to where it came from and never used it. Something you can use as a interim, or as a good interim solution rather than the goop is, if you go to Supercheap Auto, you can buy a tyre repair kit. It basically has unvulcanized rubber slugs, and there's actually, this thing here is like an auger where you remount the hole that the tech screws created. Yep. And then you use this sort of like a crochet knitting needle to basically stick in this slug. And I personally have done that on 2 of my cars, an S and an X. And on my X, I've had this so-called temporary solution in my car for 35,000 kilometers.
Wow.
In my experience, I'm finding it basically lasts the remainder of the lifetime of the tire. So that's a very effective, and you can actually do it often with the tire on the car, because you just rotate the tire to where the tech screw is, and you can just basically work with it on the car if you need to.
Yep.
Obviously, bring an air compressor. Tesla do have one for sale, but it's often out of stock, and I think it's currently out of stock. But again, you can go to Supercheap or anywhere similar to get either a 12-volt cigarette lighter style compressor, or you can just go and get like a Ryobi cordless one, with a battery.
Yeah, I've actually got I've got a little kit of Goop that comes with a little compressor, and I've used the compressor several times, so all good there.
Richard, just quickly while we're still on those, that tyre repair kit, you can get cheaper ones that have a smaller handle. Usually it's the four-wheel drive ones, so this one that Harold's showing you is a deluxe one, so it's got a slightly bigger handle, and that will make all the difference because it's not easy to get that screw or that all go through the tyre. So
Yep.
Yeah, because it hurts your hand, the small ones. So it'll make all the difference. So don't go for the cheap little ones.
Okay.
So that's a very effective solution. Obviously, it won't protect you from a catastrophic flat, such as if you run over a bolt or something and it tears the sidewall or something like that. But if you look at the probability of that happening across the southern part of Australia, well, anything can happen, but it's not extremely likely.
Yep.
Now, as far as we'll carry on. If anyone else is new, we'll get to you very quickly. But since we're running hot,
Harold, I've put the link to the article on the website on the chat.
For tyres,
The Nullarbor trip, where the charge stations are.
Awesome. Okay, so if you just have a look at that in the chat.
By the way, Richard, Rob, who was just talking, he's gone across the Nullarbor 5 times already with his wife.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got plenty of experience now. If you actually do a quick look of PlugShare, sorry, where are you coming from, Richard?
I'll be coming from Melbourne.
Okay, so obviously to get to Adelaide is going to be an absolute breeze on superchargers the whole way. I actually recommend you also then go to Clare, even though it's not quite the most direct route, but it is your last supercharger. Excuse me. And then you go through, actually I should have put Tesla on as well. Then after that, you need to change your driving behavior. So all the way to Clare, you do the speed limit. You don't care about state of charge. You don't care about anything because your car will tell you what to do.
Yep.
Then when you get to Clare, you charge effectively fully because that's the last time you'll be fast charging, well, until you get to Perth, basically. Then you basically go through to Port Augusta, and there are two places which at the moment our best experience is at the Majestic Oasis Apartments. They are an awesome set of apartments. They're actually secured by a gate. I don't know if the gate's actually in the images, but you just walk into reception and they are awesome people. They will let you charge for free and they'll refuse to take payment. So they're just very welcoming to Teslas.
Wow,
and the destination charger, that was my car here. I think it was my car, that photo. And I was iced at the time, but as you can see, the lead is very long. So you can just park along the road or the access way and charge. So that's a good place to go to. Then after that, you've got Kimber and at Milton's Tyre Centre. They're awesome people. Bearing in mind, you need to be there during business hours and during a working day. I don't know if they're around on Saturdays, but depending on when you're going to leave, they're an awesome family business, and they've actually improved their charging facility since I was there a few weeks ago. So they've actually got a 32 amp 3-phase proper outlet now.
Right.
But they are only open during business hours. Then you've got Poochera. Now Poochera, depending on your, the other thing too, one thing I need to mention is, do you have a 3-phase EVSE, like a portable EVSE that does the full 3-phase?
No.
Okay.
No. Just the
Right.
UMC from Tesla.
Right. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is go to tokwa.org.au.
Yep.
click on membership, click
Yep.
join. For a whole $20, that will entitle you to borrow loan adapters. Now,
Okay.
what we can do is we can lend you what's called a cons 3-phase portable UMC, effectively.
Okay.
And it will provide you with 11 kilowatts, so 16 amps, 3-phase of charging.
Okay.
That will charge your Model 3 at about 80 odd kilometers per hour,
Right.
which is vastly faster than anything else. And you'll need that to get across the Nullarbor at any reasonable time.
Okay.
The only thing is we'll have to charge you for an airbag or whatever, or we could possibly road freight it. Because you're saying this is in March, so we've got plenty of time. I had to send one 2 days ago for a gentleman who's leaving this weekend from Canberra, so we had to airbag that. But and I think it was about 7 kilos, so it's not particularly cheap to airbag. But we can road freight it to you, and then you can get it back to us. Are you just going to Perth, or are you doing a lap?
No, just Perth and back.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
It's probably going to be probably mid-February. We'll head off, just to give us plenty of time. Coming for a wedding early in March. I do have a 5-pin single-phase tail for the. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Don't. Yes.
I'm hearing
that'll get you 7 kilowatts. The 11 will get you 50% more, which means you'll spend 30% less time by the side of the road. And trust me, those hours count.
Just take it with you anyway, Richard, just as a backup.
Sure.
But definitely go with what Harold's saying. Absolutely.
Richard, that single phase tail, that 3-phase tail to Gen 2 UMC.
Yep.
Take it out the back and set fire to it. They are bloody useless. And anyone else is listening on here, they're okay for home use where you're charging off grid power, but across the Nullarbor, they're actually annoying some of the roadhouses. They actually don't like them.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're only drawing one phase.
Okay.
Yeah. So the cones charger that Harold was talking about is the duck's guts. Really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, okay, cool. Now, how old is your Model 3?
Got it in March this year.
Okay. Have you used the 10 amp tail or the 15 amp tail at all?
Both of them, yeah.
Okay. When you do you get 10 and 15 amps respectively, or do you get 8 and 12? Oh, you get 10 and 15. Okay.
When
awesome.
I first started, it was dialed down to 8. I only used the 10 at that point, and now if I use it, it's 10 and 15. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So for anyone that's curious, if yours does currently, and in fact, I had a friend of mine's father got a new Model Y. The markings were 10 and 15 amps. When he tried out the 15 amp one, it only provided 12. So then I just told him, and this is what anyone should do, if you come across a tail that is marked 10 and 15 and you're getting less, what you do is before you plug in that UMC connected to that tail, just make sure the charge slider is lower than your current battery level. And then when it is, so let's say put it to 50%, then what you do is you then plug your UMC with that tail into your car. Of course, nothing will happen. But as you do that, don't stay in the car with the aircon running because that'll draw power. So just plug it in, lock the car, walk away, come back a few minutes later, and that tail should have been reprogrammed automatically by the car. But it only does it when the car is plugged in but not charging because the desired charge level is lower than the battery level. So that's a little pro tip for anyone out there that might have come across a tail that's not putting out what it should. Anyway, so moving
also, Harold, on that one, my friend had that same situation and it didn't work for him. He had to put a service ticket in and they fixed it remotely, like over the air.
Yeah, right.
So if it doesn't work, you just put a service ticket in and they can fix it.
Yep. Well, this gentleman today, he tried it as per my instructions and it worked first time and it was pretty quick. I sort of encouraged them to wait half an hour and I don't think they could wait. They only gave it a few dozen seconds or a minute or two and it did it. I think the UMC actually, when it does do it, all of the LEDs come on at once, which is something you don't normally see. So, but you must do it with the desired charge level lower than the current battery level.
Which means your state of charge has to be above 50%, because 50% is the lowest
Yes.
setting you can have.
That's right. So then moving right along from, I was going to describe Puchera. So Puchera is great. Look, there's a little pro tip. Give me a ring when you're closer to it. But this is a great place to charge as well. And the owner of the, it's actually a hotel and it's a hotel and a post office as well. And look, they're very welcoming to EVs. So that's another great place to charge. Ceduna, you may choose to overnight at Ceduna. At the East West Motel, there's a Tesla destination charger, so that requires no adapter. Penong Caravan Park is 3-phase. That's a great spot if you want to overnight. Pete didn't, and I did. So that's my car, that's Pete's. Strangely, they look the same, don't know why. And then you've got Nullarbor Roadhouse, that's 3-phase. By the way, the pin drops are accurate, because someone called me is a bit of a pin Nazi, and what you can do when you're driving is actually bring it up on your phone. And in this case, you actually drive around the side, and there's like a laundry there, I think from memory, and the connector is exactly where that pin drop says. So all of these pin drops across the Nullarbor are deadly accurate, because yours truly made them so. Just because there's nothing more stressful than not quite knowing where the bloody outlet is, because they're not always obvious. So out of Nullarbor,
there's nothing more handy than having the pin in the right spot. It was very handy. So thank you, Harold.
Yeah, no worries. Look, and I did it for my own sanity, because I get super stressed out when I'm floating around trying to find something. And what you really want to do, the big thing is ABC, always be charging. Plug in first, then ask questions later. So just plug in so you're not wasting time, then go up to the counter and say, hey, I'm just here to charge my car. How much do I owe you? Blah, 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 whatever. Then go and get food, a drink and everything else and relax. But every minute that you're not charging is a minute that you're wasting. But as soon as you're plugged in, then it doesn't matter. You've got hours literally to enjoy the ambiance of the Nullarbor. Now, from Nullarbor Roadhouse, you can actually get to Mundrabilla, and you can avoid Euclid's not actually a great spot, and Border Village is a little bit of a pain because you've got to park around the back at a shed, and in fact the cable is inside the back of this shed. So something else that can be useful is if you bring an extension cord, a 3-phase extension cord.
Okay.
So it's basically a 3-phase, so you can get an electrician to make this up for you. You need 32 amps, a 32 amp 3-phase plug at one end, and a 32 amp 3-phase extension socket, it's called, at the other end. Say about 10 meters is plenty, 7 meters is more than enough. But that can just take a little bit of stress out of if something inconvenient is parked where the power point, where the outlet is, you've got plenty of spare cable. So it's a useful asset to have, although you may not use it very often.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have to wait around for someone.
So far you spoke about charging, but not about the speed that you should be driving. Is this just regular road speed, or should there be differences?
Yeah, actually, okay. So thanks, Russell. There are no gaps where you need to reduce your speed to make the distance across the Nullarbor. So you don't have to reduce your speed for range reasons, but because you're actually charging your car at only roughly 80 kilometers indicated per hour, then ironically, it's actually going to be faster. You'll spend less time transiting if you reduce your speed a bit. So if you can reduce your speed to say 90 k's an hour, or if you're behind a truck doing 100, then that's a great way to go. And you can, even if you're not really close to the truck, you can set your autopilot following distance to 3 or 4 if you're more comfortable doing that. But by drafting behind someone going a little bit slower, you'll vastly reduce your energy consumption. And in so doing, you'll spend less time by the side of the road charging. And it's only because you're only charging at 11 kilowatts. And in fact, the ideal speed to do is the speed at which your car consumes 11 kilowatts. But that's probably closer to 80 k's an hour. But 90 or even 100 is much better than 110. For every 10% that you reduce your speed, you'll increase your range or reduce your consumption by 14%, and that compounds. So use it as an opportunity to, like for instance, an ideal thing would be a grey Nomad doing 100 with a caravan, or even 90, and you just follow behind them, and you're going to get awesome efficiency, and you'll spend a lot less time by the side of the road charging. But obviously,
and probably annoy the hell out of the grey Nomad.
Usually,
no, not really. No, they won't even look. They won't even see you. Look, actually, one tip is get yourself a small CB radio. You can get a little Uniden one for about, how much was it, Pete? Less than $100.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't expensive. A couple of $100. Yeah.
Or a couple of hundred, was it? No, it wasn't. Was it that much? I thought they would be less than that. Uniden from JCar or something like that, or you can get that to communicate with caravans. Sometimes I'll have UHF 40 on the back or some other number. But look, I've followed a few caravans, and a couple of times they've done the old polite indicator. But then if you just ignore it, they'll get the message soon enough. But like I said, that's only a personal preference. You can just bash out the speed limit, and that's fine. It's just that you'll find that, you might be driving for, say, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then you might be charging for, say, 50% longer than that time that you've been driving. So in other words, if you drive for 2 hours, you might be charging for 3 hours, something like that. But that's just unfortunately what you have to do. The
there
good
it
thing
is. Richard, if you want to take note of it.
Okay, yeah, got it.
The box. Yeah.
That's from JCar, is it?
I got it from a local. I can't even remember where it was, but yeah, they have them everywhere. So this one's probably the cheapest. There's one, I can't remember the brand now. It's about $20 more, but it's just a 5-watt CB, and it will work for a good. If there's no obstructions, it will work for several kilometres. So it's quite handy.
Excellent.
Yeah, your hair's looking good, Pete. I'll just unspotlight
I
you there.
realised I've got hat hair. Once you spotlighted me, that's better.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so very quickly moving along, and so I'll get to everyone new in a moment. You can actually, like I said, Border Village isn't fantastic, but you can actually make it from Nullarbor Roadhouse straight to Mundrabilla. So there's no issues doing that. And you can top up at Mundrabilla, that's just 3-phase. Now, the good news then is actually at Majura Pass, there's actually a 20 kilowatt Delta charger. So that looks like this. Now, the only note with Majura Pass is they're only open during, I guess you call it office hours. So I think they close up. Rob, was it 5 o'clock they wanted to close?
At Majura Pass, 5 o'clock, he shuts the doors, washes his hands, and goes and works in the restaurant.
Okay.
So just be aware that if you want to charge there, you want to make sure you're there before 5, if that's where you happen to be. Look, one very important thing is the key to doing any of these sort of trips, long trips like this, is flexibility. So just be flexible with your arrangements. So, day one, if you're leaving from Melbourne, look, you can easily you obviously easily get to Adelaide, and then you can go a bit further. But it just depends on how you're going and what you want to do. Whether you're on a mission to get to Perth fairly quickly, or you want to have it as a mini break and a holiday. And it depends which direction you're going to, of course. But just be flexible. Maybe ring ahead and see what your accommodation options are. If one place is booked out, you might want to stretch to go to the next place, or maybe you want to park up early and stay at the place you're already at. But yeah, so the main tip is with Majura, that's definitely office hours. For instance, Mundrabilla is 24/7 because the the outlet is available openly all the time. But Majura is slightly restricted, but it is great charging.
Just a note on Mundrabilla, because that socket is right next door to the rooms there, you can see the doors there. Those are actually doors to hotel rooms. And I got there at 7 o'clock and I plugged in, and you know, you get an audience pretty quickly. So yeah, had about 2 or 3 people around me asking me questions, etc. And yeah, about 10 minutes, a lady got out of that door and said, "You've just woken us up. Can you please shut up?" And you're right outdoor. So just keep that in mind. The other thing is, you can see where that plug is. That hole, where that socket is, I mean, that's a little bit loose, that socket. So when you are taking that plug out, just put one hand on the socket so you're not pulling the whole socket out.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So, and then I'll just get out of that. And then if we cruise along, you've done Majura. It's doubtful. We just don't know what the status of Kaiguna is. Just a heads up. The last few weeks, charging at Kaiguna has been difficult due to human factors. So if you charge up quite fully at Majura, which you can do at 20 kilowatts, so that's basically putting in 150 kilometers of range in your car per hour, which is pretty good. You can actually make it, all the way to Belladonna. I think, is that right, Pete? Is it?
I charged at Cockabiddy as well.
Yeah, you did. Let me just check. I'll just check on Google Maps.
You only need to top up a Cockabiddy for an hour to get you through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's one of the better roadhouses to stop for food.
I'll just look up. Was it Majura Oasis?
So Richard,
Yep.
you're a bit of a pioneer when you do this trip, because even so Harold and Pete drove around Australia, they did it by themselves. You're a much braver man. There's only one other person, I believe, in the club, which is Rob, that's taken his wife with him. So that's a whole new pioneer challenge, my friend. So
And
hats off to you.
I've got an extra layer of complication. This little friend's going to come with me.
Exactly. There you go. Well, he could probably do a few legs of the driving.
Yeah.
On autopilot, put one
That's a
paw on
damn
each
good
wheel.
idea, you know.
There you go.
That's a very good idea.
So speaking of legs of driving, Belladonna to Majura Pass is only 337 k's. So if you take it steady, you can make that in one hit. Or as Rob suggests, you can actually just do a bit of a top up at Cockabiddy. And in fact, what's useful is, you mentioned your little furry friend. So you could actually fully charge at Majura, then just go to Cockabiddy just for a little comfort break. And even in the half an hour break, that will get you an extra 35 kilometers, which can make a big difference. So it's the old ABC, always be charging. But whenever you can actually charge and then do something else useful, it means you're not actually spending time charging. So if you just drop by Cockabiddy, and again, that one's actually really easy to find the plug, because it's actually on the side wall of the building, right here. So it's super easy to find, very quick to plug in. So if you sort of have your charging stuff in your frunk, for example, then that means you only use your frunk just for charging adapters and cables and tire repair kits and stuff that you'll use. Tire repair kit can be underneath all the cables, because you hopefully won't need to use it. But that's easy to sort of plug into, and it means you're not wasting time getting prepared. And then you can go straight to Belladonna. One little tip I'd just say in Belladonna is, if you're overnighting, but you've gotten there at a reasonable hour, then obviously plug it into the Delta. This is the Delta charger right here. But in my experience, I plugged in and half an hour later it stopped charging, but I was in the car. But if you say plugged in and you got there at night and you overnighted, you might wake up finding that your car had stopped charging, which you don't want to do. So if you get there, just keep an eye on it, on the Deltas. But again, we don't know what time you're going to get there.
Also with that charger, Richard, it's got a very long startup sequence. Feels like forever, but goes for a good 2-3 minutes. And then at the end of that startup sequence, once you've got he will ask you, actually before that, he will ask you to plug the car in. And then at the end of that startup sequence, he will tell you to unplug the car. So just do that, unplug it, and then plug it back in, and it should work. So I had Harold on the phone when I did it, and it worked the second time around. And the gentleman that was waiting behind me to charge after me, he had to do the same. And Mike Bradley, who came across the Nullarbor last week, same thing for him. So for some reason, you've got to plug it in, then unplug it, and then 10 seconds later, plug it in the second time, it should work.
Cool.
But it's a little bit of delta. Yeah.
Just a little bit of patience.
You are leaving next March, aren't you, Richard? So you'll probably touch again on this before next March, I guess.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to get a feel for it. Just trying to map it out.
There'll probably be superchargers by next March across the Nullarbor.
No shit.
Easily by next March.
Excuse me.
No.
Another 2 weeks away.
The good thing, Richard, this is being recorded, so you can watch it again if you're a glutton for punishment. You can watch it again on YouTube before your trip.
Oh, yes. So just go to youtube.com/Tokwa, TOCWA.
Yep.
And again, if you go to tocwa.org.au and then just, like I said, join for a whole $20, you're going to get all this good stuff for free. So then very quickly moving along, you've got Norseman, which is just 3-phase at the oval. I personally, I've been to Norseman a few times, and I just left my car overnight on one occasion, and then another occasion just stayed with the car at the oval. And again, you just don't know whether you're going to be overnighting or not, but most of the accommodation is actually up here. And it's just a bit of a walk uphill. It's only about 500 metres to go up to where you're accommodated.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Norseman is, touch wood, a fairly quiet town. So that's sort of pretty fine. Then you can go all the way to Southern Cross if you're a little bit economical.
Yeah.
But look, if you're being a little bit touristy, by all means go to Kalgoorlie and enjoy. You've got, I presume you've got a Type 2 cable, and at the...
I was going to actually ask that question. I don't actually have one at the moment because so far my trips have been, fairly pedestrian. So I will get one. And I was going to ask, do I need to get a Type 1 to Type?
No.
Type 1,
No. Forget the Type 1s. Okay. Look, to be honest, you don't really need a Type 2. On my trip around, I didn't ever use the Type 2 cable. And you don't need it across the Nullarbor. I only mentioned it in passing if you're going via Kalgoorlie, because at the visitor centre there's actually, or admin building, there's a Type 2. But on Hannon Street, at the view on Hannon's, there's actually a Tesla. There are 2 Tesla destination chargers. We might get an image of those in a moment. Just there, right there. With at least, hopefully, one of them will be working. Or there's also 3-phase at the back. So you can use the cons adapter that we'll be sending you. That's if you choose to go to Kalgoorlie. You can actually quite effectively just take the shortcut, bypass it. Now you can also use Cora Retreat if you're finding yourself a little bit low. They have a Tesla destination charger as well as a 32 amp 3-phase outlet, which happens to be plugged into. Sorry, the destination charger is plugged into the outlet. It's one of these images on the side, right here. It's just on the side. And then moving further along, you've got Southern Cross, which is at the oval. That's easy to get to, and Meriden is the test destination charger. And then from Meriden, you easily get to Perth, and Perth you've got a supercharger, which is totally awesome. So that's the real lightning sort of intro into how you do it, and we can also go in detail later and let you absorb all that sort of information. And some places charge $50 a flat rate for a charge, and it just is what it is. Others don't want any money, and others are completely free anyway. So that's how you go. But look, absolutely, it's going to be awesome. February is a great time because you've got lots of daylight hours. So you've got more driving time, and it's going to be awesome. But yeah, welcome again. I'll now ask, and apologies for everyone that's been a rather late introduction. Anyone else that's new, please do say hello. Oh, okay. So we'll go. Bills.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Andy.
Andy, welcome, Andy.
Thank you. I just thought I'd just join in and see what this is about, because I'm a prospective Tesla owner. So at the moment, I've just got a diesel full drive and a petrol wagon, and which is about just over 10 years old, and I'm just sort of debating, just strongly considering a Tesla. So I've got a whole host of questions which you probably would be very familiar with, and I might be a bit...
So Andy, oh geez, what is it going to take for us to get you into a Tesla tonight? Now, there is some good news, and I can make this very complicated for you, or I can make it easy. Right. What might make it complicated is, as if you've looked, no doubt you've looked on Tesla's website. Oh, are you looking at a Model 3 or a Y?
3.
Oh, right. Interesting. Have you driven one yet?
Yes, I've visited the Osborne Park one twice.
Yep.
Had a couple of goes. And it's fantastic.
Yep. Have you tried the Y? Coincidentally?
No.
Okay. Do yourself a favour and just try it.
Okay.
Just in case, because... oh, sorry, James. I just have got to mute you because I can hear you. Sorry about that. So, Andy, so you haven't tried a Y.
No.
Is there anything about the Y that you don't like in general, or you just haven't really seen it?
It's the price, actually.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Totally fair enough. So you're looking at the standard range R3?
Yeah. So it would just be the base model. I mean, we do very low Ks. I mean, in our 10 years, we've done under 90,000 on our wagon. So I'm presuming that a Tesla would last for a very long time. It wouldn't make a dent into the mechanics, what little there is of it. And I believe the battery is on charging on Ks rather than longevity. It would degrade, if I'm correct.
Yeah, we'll put it this way. I've got a Model X that's done 220,000 kilometres, which is the equivalent of 15 years of Western Australian average use of 15,000 Ks per year, and it's perfectly fine. You know, it drives today exactly the same as when I got it nearly 6 years ago, and that's after 220,000 Ks or 15 years at 15,000 Ks per year. So it's going to be zero issue. Now, as you know, the standard Model 3 in Poverty Pearl White, which is the free colour, is 72,611 drive away.
And Andy, the Model 3 is Zimmer frame friendly, not so where the Model Y is more based for Zimmer frame users.
That is not true, Jared.
So the Model 3 is for much younger people like yourself, which you'll enjoy a lot more of the Model 3, I must say, right now.
Now, as a price comparison, if you look at the base Model 3, it's 72,611 drive away, no more to pay. If we just change that for a Model Y, then the base price is 79,878. So if you look at the price differential, it's only $6,000, $7,000. If you compare that with the Model 3. So let's call it $7,000, which, look, it is a significant price difference, but it might be useful just for your own sake, unless the price is the absolute critical issue, just to try it, just in case there's
Yeah, don't
aspects of the
forget,
model.
Harold, he's going to be eligible. He'll be eligible for the discount as well on the Model 3.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
The reduction in
Yeah.
the grant.
That's
So it's
right.
going to be more than that much money, be
It's
considerably
more than 10 grand.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See,
No, that's actually
really-
included. No, that was included in the WA EV rebate of 3,500.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So that's actually included. Oh no, hang on. Driveway price
that's-
72,611. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
It's
see,
going to be
64.
69. No, because that's the
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
fuel
No,
saving.
you're
So you
right.
add the 5 back. Sorry,
Yes.
Andy. So it's 69,111.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's 10 grand difference. Thanks, Russell. That's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
big point. Yeah, no, that's a very big point. So
It's-
I guess I
it's
dare say
too
that's the
much-
clincher.
it's Too much of it. I mean, if money was no object,
Yeah. Yeah.
then the Y would look more promising because of this is one of the reasons why I've not actually really looked at the Y, because of the price differential.
Yep.
The boot access is much better. That's one of my
Yes.
concerns about the 3. And so like if it was a petrol engine, I wouldn't look at it and go, well, I've got much better boot access in my 10-year-old car. So
Yes.
I can see no car is perfect. So
Well,
Depends
something that
on
might
what
make
you need in terms
Uh-oh.
of storage and stuff like that.
And
'Cause if you're putting big items like because I've got a Performance 3 and we've got a Y as well. If you're chucking a chair in the back, then the Y is better. If it's just long stuff that's not too much, then the 3 is quite good with that sort of stuff.
yeah,
So
I mean, I've
just
got
depends.
a full-size four-wheel drive, so
Yeah.
the big stuff I can put a bikes on there. So we'll use that for putting chairs in.
something else that the Y can do that the 3 can't is easily have well, you can do it in the 3 as well, but the Model Y has the option of having a service center fitted tow bar, a Tesla tow bar, basically, that can tow 1,600 kilos. Whereas the 3, you have to go off label with a third party accessory, which can tow
1 ton.
1 ton.
Mm.
So now, look, if you look at the $10,000 cost, if you are comparing that from one car to the same car to another car, it's $10,000. But what you need to look at is comparing it to whatever car you're driving at the moment, or an ICE car. So Pete, for instance, has done a very good analysis of comparing approximately a Model Y, a base Model Y, with a standard Camry, Toyota Camry. And even though the cost differential is about in excess of $30,000 to buy, the total cost of ownership over a mere 3 years can actually be superior on the Tesla, whether it's a 3 or a Y. It makes very little difference as a total cost of ownership. So if you sort of run it as a cold economic terms, you can maybe make that $10,000 seem less harsh, given the extra benefits that the Model Y has over the 3. But you'll only be able to see that if you literally, and the great thing is at the showroom, they are side by side. You can oscillate between the 2 cars continually to see all the differences and just see if, because you want to buy this car will last you 10 years,
Oh,
like literally at least.
yeah.
So
I'm
so
the amount
hoping
of Ks that you've done, maybe
a lot
20
more
years.
than that.
well, yeah, so,
Yeah.
well, I mean, as a minimum, like
Yeah.
absolute complete carefree for at least 10 years. So you want to make sure that if it's one of these once in 10 year purchases or once in 15, put it this way, in 15 years time, the 10 grand differential that you did back in, 2022 will seem like a rounding error compared to everything else that's occurred since.
Mm.
So it might be useful just to do that extra little bit of due diligence. And then if you find, well, it's not really worth $10,000 more, these extra features, then you go, yep, done that. And you'll be completely happy with your Model 3 as the correct choice.
Mm.
Because both cars are literally awesome.
At least that way you'll make a informed decision, and you won't have any regrets.
Harold, it sounds like you got shares in Tesla or something, mate. That sort of trying to.
I don't care. Look, I'll do whatever it takes to get Andy in a car, and if we can do it tonight. We happen to have a few cars available in stock, which we'll mention.
Really?
Actually, we'll take this opportunity to mention it right now. So these are cars that will be available in November, and there are some blue with black interior, 19-inch wheels. There's a few of those. There's a red with a black interior, 19-inch wheels, and there are 2 blues with a white interior and 20-inch wheels. Now, these are strictly limited availability, and if anyone is interested, and whether it's tonight or you watch this on YouTube over the next few days or possibly weeks, let me know. You can either ring on 62623131 or send, which is Tokwa's hotline, or send an email to secretary@tokwa, tocwa.org.au, and then I can pass on your details. But this is if you're interested in getting a model. This is unfortunately Model Ys, and they will be available in November delivery.
And
Are
Harold,
they standard or performance?
Sorry,
No.
they're all standards.
Oh,
There are no
okay.
performances in this.
Harold, and
If it was performance,
So go Pete.
sorry, go Pete.
did you mention there was a black one as well? One black one?
No, that black one's going tomorrow.
Oh, it's gone.
You'd have no. If you could come up with the cash tomorrow after midday, but not before midday, and it hasn't been paid for and it's been cancelled, you'd have it by the weekend. But that's a black car.
Are these orders that didn't get delivered, like didn't take delivery
That's
because
fell
they
through.
didn't get financed?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so that black one. Yes, there's a black one with 19-inch wheels, black interior, black on black, standard aero wheels. That will only be available if someone can pay cash for it tomorrow afternoon, basically. Then you can have it for the weekend.
Can you deliver it to Melbourne?
No.
You can airbag it.
No.
Put it in
Hey,
airbag.
Richard,
But-
I'll pick it up for you. Richard, I'll pick it up.
But Richard,
and then
no,
I'll
but
look
Richard,
after it for you for 2 months, and then you can take it back off me.
actually, no, Richard, you can fly here and pick it up and drive it back.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But what do I do with the 3 that I'm leaving over in Perth?
Sell it,
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
like
No,
everyone else is.
Seriously, I didn't catch the name of the person who's considering getting a 3, but it's an absolute pearl of a car. And I would have gotten the Y if it had come out a little bit earlier.
Yep.
But unbeknownst to me, it came out about 4 months after I purchased mine. I'm not unhappy with my purchase. It's an absolute ripper of a car. I delight in driving it every day. I look for excuses to drive it. And 6 months on, it's still as fantastic as it was the day I picked it up. So go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if you ask everyone that's here tonight, ask them what regrets they've had as a result of buying their Model 3 or their Model Y, you'll only get one answer, and that's that the only regret they had, including myself, that they didn't do it earlier.
Right.
Oh, actually, if you asked me, I would have bought the Nissan Leaf. I do regret not getting the Leaf because, and a man like yourself who only done 90,000 Ks over a 10-year period, the Nissan Leaf is perfect for that car, for that kind of distance.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for your
absolutely.
input. So, how is it that over 3 years the Camry comes
Oh,
out?
sorry, hang on. You're just clashing. Sorry, go, Andy. Sorry, go, Andy. Pete, you were clashing. You couldn't hear him.
Sorry.
Go, Andy.
Sorry, I'm just curious. How is it? I mean, I'm willing to believe when I'm obviously very interested in Tesla, otherwise wouldn't be here. But how is it a Tesla comes out on top after only 3 years with a washing machine on wheels?
So the way you look at it is, let's say you go ahead and tonight you buy a Model 3 rear-wheel drive for 70,000 drive away after rebates. And let's say your neighbour buys an average Australian car that costs roughly around 40,000. So call it a Camry or something of that sort. And let's say you include everything, and by everything I mean you include your fuel costs or your electricity costs for the Model 3. You include your servicing, depreciation, which is the big one, registration,
Oh,
insurance, and you even let's say, I'm also assuming that you finance both cars. So with the Model 3 having a higher upfront cost, there's more interest. Now, this is a comparison that I did about 6 months ago. So interest rates have gone up since then, so they'll be slightly different. But the way it came out about 6 months ago is that if you sold both cars after just 3 years, actually, the longer you hold on to your Model 3, the better off you would be. But if you sell both cars after just 3 years, and even if your neighbour owns a petrol station and they can get their petrol for free, you'd have at least $4,200 more left in your bank account than your neighbour.
So, I mean, the depreciation for electric car is far less at the moment because of demand.
No, so this is, yeah, so very, very good point. So the depreciation are based on pre-COVID figures,
Right.
because post-COVID is, yeah, as you rightly point out, it's gone a bit silly. So this was based on a study of 1 million cars, and they were bought in, they were sold in the first half of 2020, so just before. So there was a little bit of COVID, but not enough to affect prices by then. So COVID sort of started in March of 2020. And they were all bought in the first half of 2017. And the study found that an average car depreciated about 39% over that 3-year period. The average electric vehicle depreciated about 50%, so more than an average internal combustion engine car. And your average Model 3 depreciated by 10.2%. So 1/4 as much as an average car and 1/5 as much as another EV. When I published those figures, people said, "Oh, what you're not taking into account is the Model Y coming, and that will depress the Model 3 price." Well, these were figures taken from the US, and the Model Y was already announced; it was already being delivered for a few months then. So it sort of includes that effect there as well. So now, mind you, this was back in 2020. And so now we're another 2 years. So, there's a couple of things that, you can scratch your head and say, well, why is it that the Model 3 depreciates so much less than a petrol car, or so much less than another EV? And it's a couple of reasons. One is the best the internal combustion engine car is ever going to be is the day you drive it off the dealership lot. The worst your Tesla Model 3 is going to be is the day you get it. It's only going to get better with time. So my 2019, which has done 80,000 kilometres, I've had it for 3.5 years. You can do single pedal driving now. It's got Netflix, it's got YouTube, which you didn't have before. It's got 5% more range, 5K roughly more range, 5% more power. It's got, I've done a list of about 30 things that it's had, all for free. So because it keeps on getting better, that's one of the reasons why it keeps its value. The second massive reason is whether you get full self-driving or not, but just the fact that you have that option with that car. So Elon said that when full self-driving is fully fledged out, it will be worth $100,000 US. So everything on that car will depreciate. Obviously, the seats, the steering wheel, the chassis, everything will depreciate except that little chip in that car. So when Rob and Harold bought their cars, I think FSD was somewhere around the $5,000 mark. When I bought mine in 2019, it was $7,100. Now it's $10,100. When we get the FSD beta update, and the price has already gone up in the US, but when we get that, hopefully by Christmas, most probably in the first quarter of next year, but who knows, it'll go up by another 13,000. So it'll probably be worth about 23,000, and it will keep on rising until it's worth $100,000. So whether you buy the FSD, option or not, or whether you wait or whatever you do, the fact is you have that option, and that optionality has got value, intrinsic value, which people subconsciously subscribe value to. Now, yes, it's correct. At the moment, if you buy FSD and you sell the car a week later, you won't get the extra $10,100 back that you paid for it. The second-hand market discounts it, but over time that may change, or it may keep on discounting it forever, but to buy new might cost $80,000. Or you might not even have the option to buy new. You might only have the option to subscribe for FSD at $2,000 a month or whatever by that.
Alrighty, so there you go. That's a compelling reason why if you've got to compare apples with apples. And go, Paul.
I was going to say last night, cheap ass Tuesday for petrol. All the bastards were out the road. I drove past them. I drove home. I plugged in, full tank in the morning. You just think of that sort of stuff, and the cost is a lot cheaper. And what's the cost of joy as well? You know, when you put that foot down.
Yeah,
You only
also,
live once.
With Pete's calculations, his calculation had to be a bit more conservative because he presented to a national audience. I did a calculation based on a more accurate usage of how I would typically use the car with using green energy, you know, free from the sun, all those sorts of things. Yeah. And my number came closer to $10,000 than what Pete's came to $4,000. So you can look at how...
I would second Russell's numbers there. So based on those assumptions, so I based everything on the highest average electricity price that you can get around Australia. The fuel price are based on a 10-year average. Obviously, we know that fuel prices are a lot higher, etc. So as Russell said, so I made sure I had conservative assumptions. But if you do a more realistic comparison, because, you know, why wouldn't you get a solar system and charge effectively, you know, for next to nothing or for free? And, you know, you can, if you buy a Type 2 cable, a lot of the shopping centres will give you complimentary charging, etc. So I would second those numbers that Russell just mentioned as well.
Right, thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so so then going with the FSD, and then there's the enhanced one, which is
Autopilot, half price.
If you go for the enhanced, it's not an extra $5,000, 5,100 for the Autopilot for the FSD, is it?
Yes, it is on top. So Autopilot FSD is 10,100. Enhanced Autopilot is, I think it's $5,000. Yeah. And when you get Enhanced Autopilot on your app, you'd then be able to buy full self-driving for an additional 5,100 or the difference. Right. So, but look, I've currently got a Model Y. I've got a Model X as well, but I'm not driving it at the moment. And my Model X has full self-driving. Now I'm gone to a basic version Autopilot Model Y, and the only thing I miss at the moment is the automatic lane changes, which now I have to actually manually change lanes, which is a little bit arduous for someone like me, but that's the only thing I miss, and I could get that for $5,000 roughly for Enhanced Autopilot. Whether or not FSD is worth it is a bit of a ethereal question, because it's still kind of theoretical until it actually properly lands. And if you look at the YouTube videos, they're all awesome of how this car behaves quite, you know, amazingly. But that's not the main game for car ownership. How can I help? You know, so you could budget for Enhanced Autopilot, but I think if you've come out of a standard ICE car, I think you're going to be hugely impressed with just the basic Autopilot as it is. So Enhanced Autopilot.
I've got
5.1, sorry.
It's
5.1,
yeah.
apologies.
I've got Enhanced Autopilot on my Model 3, and I use it all the time, So, you know, you indicate and just changes lanes or changes lanes automatically on the freeway, for example.
Yeah, thanks,
it does get a little bit like annoying sometimes on the freeway, because I just want to sit in the right lane and go slow, just like, no jokes, but it tends to be quite you want it to stay in the lane, it just swaps out of it because it thinks it's better. So sometimes it's a little bit frustrating on the freeway, but general driving to change lanes, it's really convenient. You just tap the indicator and it changes for you. But what I found is my wife refuses to use that function. So she prefers to be in control and she doesn't really want to use that function. So there could be just I don't know, you might not get the full money's worth of it if you're using it, not your partner, for instance. I wouldn't recommend getting it straight away. I would probably prefer to drive the car for a few months just to get the hang of it and then make a decision. But with the enhanced autopilot, I think you have a 24-hour grace period of trial. So you can try it for 24 hours. If you don't like it, you can return it. But that's you only get one opportunity to do that.
Right. But yes, so if I was to order one at Model 3 the next few days, then during that time, I've got it, the price could go up. So I'd have to.
No, it won't go up. Not by then.
No,
Right.
not.
No.
And you don't order it
Don't-
after you
Don't
get the
order
car.
it with it because
No,
you'll lose the
otherwise
$3.5 grand.
you pay the
Yeah,
stamp
yeah,
duty.
so I've got to wait because that's only for 10,000 customers. So
It won't run
the
out.
total comes around 9 months.
No, it won't
It
run out.
won't run out, Andy. It won't run
No?
out. No.
Oh,
No.
right. Okay.
No, you're playing some. You'll be on for years, mate. No one's going to sell that many. The problem you've got is there's only a couple of vehicles that actually qualify for that amount,
Yeah,
and those vehicles aren't selling. It's really just the Model 3 standard range at the
Yeah.
moment. That's the one that's using the grants,
yes. Yeah.
and
so
they're not
I
going to
was
sell
looking at
10,000 of them that quickly.
Yeah, I was just looking at the standard one with black leather, well, vegan leather. Presumably it's not hot because you can put the aircon on
Yep.
No,
remotely.
it's
and that
totally
sort of thing.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're looking at 70. You're looking at 69 because you're getting 3.5 off this price.
Yeah.
So it's 69,111 roughly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with the Model Y. It's just that
That's
it's just 10 grand. Obviously, a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to. So this is double what we would pay.
Yes.
For a.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy, you won't be alone. There's a phenomenon called the Tesla stretch, and we did so Rob put up on our Tokwa Facebook page a questionnaire and asked people on average how much they stretch to buy their first Tesla, and the vast majority of people stretched over $20,000 more. So the most expensive car that I ever purchased prior to my Tesla was the most I paid was about $42,000 for a car, and then I bought a $100,000 Tesla. So
cheap.
it's not uncommon for people, and people are starting to realise. So Tesla is the only manufacturer that I know of that doesn't have a formal service schedule. So they've got a couple of recommendations, but I've had my Model 3 for 80,000 K, 3.5 years. I spend less than $200 on it if I don't include tyres. And tyres are pretty much the same as a petrol car. But that includes the electricity to run it. And that includes, because most of it was free off my solar system. So, or, add 8 cents if you like, or 7 cents. So if you count that as an opportunity cost, then you could count that. And I think I've spent about $80 on replacing a cabin filter. They recommend replacing the cabin filter once every 2 years. I think they charge you about, if Tesla does it, I think they charge you about $30 or something for the filter and about $30 or $40 to put it in. So
I think
It's
6 years,
$100
they
as well.
ask for an aircon bag. I think 6 years, it's about $400 from what I gather.
Yeah,
for
that's-
an aircon.
yeah, that's a different.
Desiccant. Yeah.
Yeah.
The desiccant bag.
Exactly. Yeah. Another point quickly to make, Andy, is as far as the basic autopilot that you get for free, but that's included with the car. So both Harold and I used that, and that's all we had on the Model Ys that we took around Australia. And I think I speak for the both of us, in excess of 99% of our driving was on that basic version of autopilot.
Right. So can you turn it off if you want to? Like say,
course.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
You can.
You don't have to use it.
You don't ever have to use it if you don't want to. It's in fact, it's up. You have to actually turn it on every time you want to use it. You have to. There's a right-hand stalk, which is the gear lever, and it doubles as the autopilot and cruise control stalk. If you do a single tap downwards, it engages traffic-aware cruise control, and if you do a double tap, it'll do autopilot. But you don't have to use it at all, ever, whatsoever.
Okay.
So it's just there at your beck and call if you want to use it, but you don't have to use it whatsoever.
But in traffic and on long drives, you will use it. Trust me, because
Yeah.
you just
Yeah, I mean, I like using cruise control, and that my wife doesn't, but she likes to be in control, which is what I think somebody else said. But I mean, it's just would be a sort of getting used to thing, and at some point, I mean, we're already expecting, you know, with other automation on cars. So, great, okay, thank you. Right, and then and something else was like wear and tear and build quality. You hear scare stories and
No.
Don't listen to that crap.
These cars, all of these cars are coming into Australia, are made in Shanghai, and the build quality. Given that I've got a Fremont built Model X and my wife has a Fremont built Model S, the comparison is chalk and cheese. The build quality of the Shanghai cars is nothing short of excellent, literally.
And I've got a Fremont Model 3 as well. And that was a 2019 car. My wife got a Model 3 from Shanghai, a 2020 car, sorry, 2021 car. And it was a good level above in terms of the quality and the finish. And I thought that's as good as the cars can get. And then when the Model Y arrived a month ago, I wouldn't say it's a whole level up, but it's a significant, it's very noticeable, the difference. So they keep on improving all the time, and the cars that are coming out now are pretty much, you know, yeah.
Can I just ask about the how come the club have got access to cars, and also how does the loan tyres, how does the loan for wheels and cables work? Because the new Teslas, they don't come with a cable, which is a little bit irksome.
Okay, so firstly, we don't have access to any cars, but we have access to knowledge that there are some cars due to circumstance that are available, and we only became aware of that today. So this is just an opportunity that is there, that's presenting itself. This was just for some Model Ys that will be arriving in November that are not allocated, and that they are available for someone to place a new order for. So that's just something that, as a club, we become aware of every now and then, or occasionally. So we have zero access to cars. So, you know, but we have some access to knowledge of when cars may become available and where a very narrow opportunity might exist.
Yes.
But otherwise, just order.
Sorry, Harold, to interrupt, but you should also mention we are a officially sanctioned Tesla club. So we're a not-for-profit. We're run by volunteers, but we are an officially sanctioned club through Tesla, you know, Tesla Motors or Tesla. Yeah.
And because of that, we have the trust of Tesla, and we have the access, and we are sometimes used as a conduit either of information out to members, or also a very effective conduit to filter information, collate it, and take that upwards to Tesla, so that rather than Tesla hearing, you know, one voice being drowned out by thousands of others, we can distill all of that. And if there's any concerns or escalations that are required, we can handle that and then push that up the line and then achieve outcomes. So we're very much in Tesla's ecosystem. And as Pete said, we're an officially sanctioned club. And obviously that's not a trivial thing to have to achieve, but that's how we can do this. Now, as far as loan adapters, we have modern spare, skinny spare wheels for models X, 3 and Y. We have type 2 adapters for road trips. We have 3-phase adapters, as I mentioned to the gentleman earlier, coming from Melbourne. I think it was Richard.
Starlink,
we may have Starlink available for road trips.
At a cost.
At a cost.
Really massages?
No, Jared does that on the side. You'll have to just contact Jared on his private number. So we've got all these sort of things that are available. We've also got the Tokwa fast DC charger in Geraldton, which is the Southwest's most northerly fast DC charger. So that's things that we do as a club, as a volunteer organisation, that we try and do that for the benefit of our owners, and also for the benefit of prospective owners. So, for instance, Andy, even though you don't have a Tesla, you're more than welcome to come back as often as you like until we get you into a Tesla, and then we'll look after you once you're in the Tesla. So, all our casual meetups are open to anyone to attend. We are just enthusiastic advocates for the product because we own the product, we like the product, but we're not just blind fanboys and girls. Where we are critical thinkers, and it's not Tesla's fault that all of us independently realize that Tesla has the best product, and it's just a fact. Because if someone else had the best product, we'd be buying that instead.
On that point,
Have you heard the way of Elon?
Go, Pete.
Most of the things, apart from what Jared says in jest quite often, most of the things are fact-based in this show, and there's enough of us here, and we, that's one of the things that we hold in high regard, to make sure we give out factual information. So, yeah, as Harold said, yes, we very much like the product. We love the product because we know what it does. I know that it's vastly superior than an internal combustion engine car. Pretty much, there's really only two arguments that you could still make, that you could argue where an internal combustion car is superior to a Model 3 or a Model Y. You could say that the upfront cost is lower. Yes, it is. But as we talked about before, after 3 years, that's pretty much extinguished. The other thing you could say is that it takes longer to recharge or refuel. So yes, that's true. But, 90% of the charging, if not more, actually it's probably a little bit more, occurs, and once again, you're more than happy to fact check that. I think Professor Ray Wills did a questionnaire, and I think it was over 90%. But anyway, over 90% of charging occurs at home. So in terms of how long does it take to charge, I say a couple of seconds, because I literally don't even have to open the flap on the car, because the charger that I have on the wall, there's a button on it. You press that button as you put in the charger in, it opens the flap and you literally stick it in. So it takes as fast as it does to plug in a smartphone. And that's actually not a bad analogy, because you see, Tesla actually built a battery swapping station back in 2013 between LA and San Francisco. And they could swap out a battery in 50 seconds, took 3.5 minutes to refuel a petrol car. So even though they could swap out a battery 3 times faster than it took to refuel a petrol car, it went nowhere and people didn't use it. And they couldn't quite sort of figure out why initially. And then they realized, Andy, how long does your smartphone take you to recharge?
I don't know. I don't charge it up.
Exactly. You don't know. You know why you don't know? Because it doesn't matter.
No.
Because you plug it in at night, you wake up in the morning and you've got 100% charge. Because it doesn't matter.
So to interrupt, we've got solar, so I'd like to think that I would be able to put it on, we don't have 3-phase, but just put it on a timer. So I don't know whether you can do that on the Tesla app or not, but I'd be
yes, you can.
You can do it in the car. Yeah, the car can, you can schedule charging
right.
in the car. So yeah, but so just to finish my point. So it doesn't matter, because you don't have to stand there and on the charging cable while the phone charges like you do with a petrol car. You don't have to drive around, get off your route, stand there for 3 minutes sucking in the fumes from the dinosaur juice, then go and line up, and then get back in your car and get back on your journey. That's assuming that you didn't spend an extra 10 minutes driving to the next petrol station because it was 10 cents cheaper per litre. So you don't have that inconvenience every week. You don't have to take 10, 15 minutes out of your journey every week to go and charge. You wake up every morning and you've got 100% if it's a rear-wheel drive, you'll be able to charge it to 100% every day, which means you'll have, if you're driving 90,000 kilometres over 10 years, you'll have 2 weeks of driving every time you get into the car every morning. Or you can choose to drive it, charge it over the weekend of solar, or if you're at home, you charge it, or at work of solar. You have that option. You don't have to worry about petrol pricing. So, but the other things what I was going to mention is the reason why that battery swapping never took off is because, let's say Samsung or Apple said to you, we'll give you a charger in the local shopping centre. It takes you about an hour to charge your smartphone, or 2 hours. We'll recharge it in half a second, and we won't even charge you anything for it. We'll make it free. Does that mean you're going to go and get into your car, drive for 10 minutes, go there and plug your phone in? Of course not, because you can plug it at home. So that's why 90% of charging, occurs at home. And so the only time it's really a factor is on long drives where there is no superchargers. So when Harold and I went around Australia, and Rob did it as well, once you're in Townsville, in Northern Queensland, you're on fast DC chargers. Once you're at Gympie in Northern Queensland, you're on Tesla superchargers all the way past Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, Adelaide, and all the way to Clare. Now, with those chargers, you drive for 3 hours. I timed it from about 4 or 5% to 80%, which gives you about 300 kilometres of driving. Takes about 12 minutes. So by the time you go and get a drink, use the restrooms, you can drive for another 3 hours. Now, this idea, and Rob actually picked me up on this, and I'm glad he did. This idea that it takes 5 minutes to refuel is a fallacy. And because Rob, having done all these across Nullarbor trips, he sits there, and I started doing this as well once he told me about it. You look at all the people coming in, none of them fuel up in 5 minutes and then drive off. They fuel up in 5 minutes, then they drive the car off to the side, and then they go in to go to the toilet, they grab a drink. I started timing this as well once Rob told me about it. Takes and exactly what Rob said, takes between 20 minutes and 30 minutes for most people to have that stop. So a supercharger is very convenient. There are places where there's no charging. So most of anything north of Perth, there really aren't any chargers. I mean, yes, Broom's got a destination charger, but that's like pouring petrol in through a straw. It'll do 80 kilometres an hour or 70 kilometres an hour. So, but there really aren't any chargers. But that will all change within 18 months, 2 years. There'll be DC chargers everywhere. So.
Okay, so what Pete's alluding to is this map here, which is the underway EV electric highway. So it's basically going to have fast DC chargers from Perth, Kings Park to Kununurra, Perth to Eucla, Perth to Kalgoorlie, and surrounding southwest locations. This will be completed by early 2024, which is in less than 18 months' time.
Mm.
And
Can I just?
that's going to
Harold?
completely change the EV owning landscape for people doing road trips, which we only do once or twice a year anyway. But this will eliminate any question of EVs being convenient in WA.
Mm.
But even if you for some reason still had anxiety about driving those distances with an EV, buy the Model 3. How many times do you do a holiday or a road trip that's longer than about 3 or 4 hours down Perth?
We've done a few camping trips. We did a biggie up to the Kimberley, so that's about 10,000 k's. But
and how many you do that once a year or?
No, that's like the first time ever. I mean, we've done Karaji, the camping trips, the usual. But we'll probably do them once a year or something like that, and we go off road and
So those 2 or 3 times a year that you do those trips, hire a petrol 4-wheel drive, and you can go off roading with it, and financially you'll still be better off.
All All right, so let's
That
see.
map you had there, that map, Harold, that you had up before, isn't that that's also a map? These are all, they're going to be the chem power charges, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for parts of some of these roadhouses, I think they're using tritiums. I think.
Oh, okay. So
I
is this
think.
also the map of charges that'll be offline within 6 months of installation as well? Is that the same map?
It is, right?
I don't know what you're asking there, Russell. Is that a question or a comment?
But Russell, they will have a AC backup. So each one of them will have an AC backup.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not being swung around.
AC backup too, weren't they?
Maybe we can
Harold,
push Tesla to put the superchargers up there.
Look, absolutely.
That map, Harold,
Go, Shane.
Go, Shane. Sorry.
Yeah, that map, Harold. The Cogenup one.
Yes.
Is that additional to the existing Cogenup, or is that the existing Cogenup?
I think it will replace the existing. So in other words, Cogenup currently is a 50 kilowatt. What will replace it will be either a 75 or a 150. I think probably a 150 will be replacing it. I don't know, but I don't think there's going to be. Excuse me, I'm not really sure, but I don't think there's going to be the 50 and a 150. It's probably just going to be the 150 and the AC backup, I think.
Okay.
But I just don't really know. But it doesn't
I
actually
can
matter.
see people waiting at. The reason I ask is Cogenup currently has a what do you call it? The Type 2 type jobby with the.
Yep.
I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
The CCS2.
Yes.
Yeah, the CCS2, and it's got a Chatamo as well.
No, so what's going to happen is the 150 kilowatt have two CCS2 nozzles. So one car can't quite charge at 150 kilowatts unless it's a high battery voltage car, which the Teslas aren't. Well, it's not quite true either.
I've seen 168 out of mine. So
yes, but this is not what it's going to get. It's because of the current limit of the non-liquid cooled cables in the chem power units. So it'll probably, one car will probably get about 100 it might crack 120 for a couple of minutes and then sort of taper down. But if two cars connect at the same time, they will power share and get 75 kilowatts each. Bearing in mind, 75 kilowatts is
75
about 450.
The catch at Cogenup is that where it currently is, you're only going to get one car.
No, the layout will be different, and there will be provision for two cars to simultaneously fast DC charge, and for at least one other car to AC charge simultaneously. So you can basically have three cars charging simultaneously, two on DC and one on AC, if they so chose.
What form will the AC charger take, Harold?
Sorry, say again, Pete.
What type of AC charger is it going to be?
Type 2.
No, yes, of course, but is it a chem power?
Oh no, I think that was announced as well. It's I think it's a charge mate. It's called a charge mate. So it's a single outlet.
Tethered?
No. So you need to bring your own Type 2 cable.
Okay.
So it's less likely to be vandalized, or it just takes a bit more effort to vandalize it. Rather than the DC chargers, which you just need to grab the cable, swing the nozzle like a cat and smash it on the ground, which will then cause about $1,500 damage per cable that you do. So the average vandal can achieve about $3,000 of damage in about 15 seconds, unfortunately.
Offline for 6 months as well for parts.
Andy.
Yeah.
And one other thing with the car, mate, is I've got a Hilux as well, because I'm just waiting on my Cybertruck to arrive, and then the Hilux is going. But with the Hilux, the button for the hazard lights is in the middle, and it will always be in the middle, where the Tesla layout is always changing and improving just the other day, there was a software update that enabled me to, when I put the indicator on, for a blind spot monitoring to pop up on a screen, I could see the camera view of the blind spot monitoring, which is something that if I did that with Toyota, that would cost me a fortune to do. Just to get the wing mirrors on an $80,000 Rogue, and that's what it cost me, $82,000 Rogue Hilux, cost me another $100 to put a chip in the car so the wing mirrors would pull in when you push the lock button. When I walk away from the Tesla, the wing mirrors automatically go in, the windows go up, and the car locks.
And the handbrake comes on as soon as you put it into park, or as soon as you open the. Even if you don't put it into park, as soon as you open the door, it goes into park and puts the handbrake.
So the technology with the car is always improving and getting better, and that's what I love about it. It's like iPhones; it's just always getting better and better, and that's one of the things I love about the car. It's just exciting. It's not the standard same in form that you have all the time.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point, Jared, because you can now do your voice command and fold your wing mirrors in while you're in traffic. Yeah. Because I did it today, because you know how you have motorcycles split.
Now?
Yeah, you can press the voice command and say fold mirrors in, and then it folds your mirrors in while you're sitting. Because you couldn't do that
down
before.
a laneway or something.
No, when the dickheads on the motorbikes are going through the traffic, splitting the traffic, and you're worried they're going to clip your mirrors, you just fold them in, and then you just say fold mirrors out with your voice command. It's awesome. And that must have just come in the last few updates.
Did you manage to check to see if the efficiency is better with the mirrors folded in when you're on those long drives, or did it test?
That literally did not occur to me, Russell.
That would have been good to see.
That
Russell, there was
when you're going at a certain
Russell, there was extra moisture in certain parts of Harold after about 8 hours of driving. There was a test that we did.
I can answer that. If you after a certain speed, they flick out, so you can't have them folded in.
Testing Harold's moisture.
Yeah, because it would contravene traffic laws.
Yeah, but like I said, while you're in, like peak hour traffic and you're blocked up and you see a motorbike, then you can fold it in. But if you're driving, I think it's over 20 Ks. I can't remember now. They fold back out.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, do they? Oh, really? I didn't know that. Because when I used to do long drives, I used to fold my wing mirrors in to try and be a bit more aerodynamic.
Yeah.
And you just pull them in manually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hacksaw would do a better job longer term.
A little.
This is what happens to two $1,500 cables when you swing them like cats and smash them on the ground. This is at the Margaret River RAC Electric Highway.
It's great.
So, unfortunately, this is what we don't want to see on the EV highway.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed.
It is creating employment, though, Harold. We are, sponsoring the employment opportunities.
Can you know in advance that a charger you're going to be, that you think you're planning to visit, can you tell in advance that it's actually inactive?
The short answer is yes and no. If you look at
PlugShare,
which is this app, and it's also an app on your phone. For instance, if we go to this actual Margaret River charger, you'll see it's got a rating of 1, and then if you see the last check-in is 18th of September. How could a major DC charging station still be broken? Blah blah. 5 months later. Come on, RAC. You love advertising how you support EVs. The reality is far different, sadly. Well, that's Dale's opinion, and it's a valid one. And then you've got others. So you can actually quickly see on the rating. This has a score of 1. When you hover your mouse over, it's got a score of 1. If it's a properly working unit, you get a score of 10, which means no failures. So this is the supercharger, which looks like it might have finally been put online.
So that's relying solely on public input. It's not from obviously.
It's just crowdsourced. It's actually, I take that back. If the charger is on Evity, hang on, Jared. If the charger is on Evity, or if it was the other one, EVIE or whatever, they actually do have live status. But the live status can't tell you that the connector has been smashed because
No, of course.
because the charger won't know that this is physically damaged. All it will know is that it's communicating with its base station. So
Yes.
unfortunately, you won't get a live, like for instance, if you go into ChargeFox and have a look at various locations. Oh, look, I did this. I was a bit frustrated going down to Albany a few days ago. I decided to go the coastal route just to make it a more interesting trip rather than just smashing down Albany Highway. And I went past what I did was I went onto PlugShare and I looked at the Donnybrook charger and that was offline. I looked at the Bridgetown charger and that was offline. And I looked at the Pemberton charger and that was offline.
Oh,
So
geez.
as it turns out, the Bridgetown charger, I think I took a photo of it and I did do a post. No, I didn't post up the photo. But basically, I put a comment. It was I didn't. Oh, Amar. Anyway, the e-stop was pressed. So there's an emergency stop button. And if you press it, the red light comes on the top of the charger and the charger doesn't work. Now, all you need to do is undo the e-stop. In fact, I think I actually took this photo. This is what it looks like in Donnybrook, just red lights. Now, to be honest, I was a bit lazy and a bit frustrated, and I didn't come out to have a look if the e-stop was pressed because I'd read previous reports that this charger was offline, so I unfortunately didn't check it. But I did check the Bridgetown one, and that's all it was. But when you look at the app's a little bit useless because the app just says it's offline, mate. That's it. And what do you think? What are you supposed to think about it?
Yeah.
So, in this case, the Bridgetown one, yes, it was offline, but it was only because of a stupid human intervention. So then all it required was another human to undo the e-stop, and then everything was okay. Once you actually, I had to read the instructions on the screen because the instructions on the screen actually say undo the e-stop, then you've got to press 2 buttons simultaneously on the charger, and then it will reboot.
Right.
Now, contrast that with superchargers. There are no emergency stops. There are no off buttons. There are no screens. You just plug in and go.
Right.
Yeah.
From
And
the
you
loop.
don't have to worry
While
about
it's
whether
charging.
you've got internet connectivity. You don't have to worry about the app. As long as you've set up your credit card in the app, which you'll do before you take delivery of your car, ideally. Unless your credit card expires or something, you don't ever have to worry about it again. But the main thing is that this is one thing that Tesla seems to understand, which a lot of the other networks are struggling to get their head around, is that you require redundancy. So, when you go to a petrol station, it's not uncommon for a Bowser to be out of action, and it's not uncommon for there to be other people there using it. But because there's 8 or 10 pumps, there's a good chance that you'll be able to pump straight away because there'll be another 3 or 4 that you can use. So with the Tesla superchargers, they have a minimum of 3 stalls. I've never seen one, and there isn't one in Australia that's got less than 3 stalls. And that's one of the reasons. And usually, like pairing up 6 stalls, for example, and in California, they've got like 100 stall superchargers now. But that's one of the reasons why they can claim a 99.96% uptime, which is very different from what you get. Some of the other networks, are probably closer to about 70-75%. So, very big difference. But as far as that WA EV highway is concerned, and we've got Harold and Rob and Tokwa to thank for a lot of this, is they'll have, some level of redundancy built in. Because as Harold said, is you'll be able to charge 2 cars. So if one's there already, another car will be able to charge at 75 kilowatts. And even if both of those 2 cars are charging, or if that DC charger is down, at least there'll be an AC backup.
Right. Well, here's the layout for Synergy. So Synergy has 2 parking bays for the DC charger. Well, I don't know which side it's going to be. And in this case, it appears to be another 2 parking spots for the AC charger.
Yeah, I'm sure that they can do 2 at a time because maybe the cable won't reach if the cars aren't parked,
well, actually,
correctly.
I think this layout's only indicative. It may be slightly different. They may actually choose to put the DC charger in the center or something. But that layout's a little bit flexible. This is more representative, but clearly they've got 5 bays because that's a bay as well. But that's representative. So they've got DC and an AC backup, and then you've got your 6 superchargers at this stage, that's on the corner of Festing and Residency Road, which actually, I'll just check my little thing here on Google Maps. You can actually see it.
I can see me mounting the curb there.
That's Albany. That's the main drag of Albany, and it's just off to the west on this block of land here. So it is going to take a little bit of time because in the council minutes that were approved, or the vote it succeeded, they've got to redevelop this whole area and put parking. But they have got a budget. It's already been budgeted for in, I think, this financial year. So hopefully this will occur within the next 12 months. Where the superchargers are going here and Synergy's going here, next to the old historic jail, in the centre, well, near the centre of Albany.
Could they not on the chargers just show when it was last used and whether it's engaged? It would know that, and then you know that it's the likelihood of it working.
ChargeFox don't do that.
Simple.
Yeah, but most.
That's actually a good point, Andy. The Tesla superchargers show you that in the car.
Oh.
So let's say you're going to Carron and if in the red icon, it's got a number 4 in it. That means 4 of the 6 charges are available to you.
Okay, right.
And that's updated in real time. But Harold will tell you about the ChargeFox charges now as well.
Yeah, so ChargeFox, all it shows is live status. So in fact, if I just do an experiment and have a look at ChargeFox right now, and I'm quite confident that some of these charges down south, oh no, actually, maybe they're online. Look at that. No, here you go. So Donnybrook, classic. So I'll just spotlight myself just temporarily. You see, whoops.
Oh yeah,
0
out of
the
1.
Type 2 and
Yes.
the Chatamo and the what's name is 0 out of 1.
Mm.
So that is offline. Now, if I go to, let's have a look at Bridgetown. Now that is actually online. You can see 1 of 1.
Yes.
So that's online. But when I looked at it, it was offline. And I think Pemberton might still be offline. No, it's now online.
Okay.
But I've actually got photos which I took in a bit of frustration a few days ago where I got the trifecta. Here we go. This was Donnybrook, faulted. Then I went, okay, no worries, I'll just try Bridgetown, faulted.
Oh.
And then I went, oh, okay, no worries, I'll just go Pemberton, faulted. And I've got to admit to personally being rather pissed off at that. And I thought, I really wanted to, I'll just unspotlight myself. I really wanted to tweet out to
Check
Elon and
Harvey
say,
while you're at it, Harold.
oh, I didn't actually, but.
No, it's faulted as well.
Oh, right, well, there you go. And I was that pissed off, to be frank, that I really wanted to tweet Elon there and then and say, for the love of God, please put superchargers everywhere in WA and save us from this hellhole.
Yes, bullshit.
Because it is, I, you know, as a Tesla owner, I've got the luxury of using superchargers. But if I owned a short range MG or a Leaf or a Hyundai Kona or any other non-Tesla EV, and I wanted to go down to Albany via the Coastway, well, what do I do when Pemberton, Bridgetown and Donnybrook, 3 pearls in a row, are all faulted? What do you do? So, you know, so let's just hope that Elon, who watches this program and supports it on Patreon at patreon.com/Tokwa, and watches the YouTube videos in retrospect at youtube.com/Tokwa. Elon supports us, and he's going to get superchargers all over the place.
And in answer of Harold's question, what do you do? Well, you do what we did driving around Australia where there are no chargers, which is basically you ring up the homestead or the roadhouse and you say, look, no, you don't have any charges there, but you do have power there. Any chance I can plug in? I can plug into anything. So any petrol station, in a worst case scenario, in an emergency, is a charger, because even the ones that are off the grid, they have to have electricity to get the fuel out of the tanks. So, and a Tesla can charge into a 10 amp, a 15 amp, 32 amp, what have you. As long as you've got the right adapters, you're good to go. You might just have to exercise a bit of patience, and you may have to lie in the back for a couple of hours, but at least you'll be trickle charging.
Mhm.
Okay, so I hope there's no one else that's new. Oh, you going, Paul?
Please.
No, I'm not yet.
Oh,
I
no,
just
sorry, I
wanted
thought
to
you were
say
waving.
a quick shout out to Richard Cooper to putting me on to John Fowler Autosport. I got my tyres today. I got the same
I've
ones.
got
The same
I've
ones
got a
he
story
did.
about that.
The
I've got a story if you want to hear it.
Oh, there
Oh,
it is.
just hang on.
I haven't even finished talking.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Go for it.
Okay, so one thing I think we've been rude about is there are potentially new people that still haven't had a chance to introduce themselves. So if there is anyone new, my sincere apologies. Please feel free to introduce yourself now if you haven't given up in disgust.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew.
Andrew, welcome. Apologies for the very, very, very long wait.
I was just listening along. I'll be getting one of the MYPs when they rock up in November or February or whenever. So
Nice.
wanted to have
Awesome.
a Tesla since I first saw them, and definitely after driving around in California, I wanted one. So yeah.
Well, tell us, Andy, how many Teslas did you see in California?
I was there in 2018, 2019 when the government shut down the whole of the US, and yeah, they're everywhere. And unfortunately, the killer app for the Tesla in California or anywhere in the States is the mountains. I just rented like a Nissan SUV and was driving up in the mountains, and at 8,000 feet, a normally aspirated car runs like shit, right? So whereas like the electrics just they don't have
care.
that problem. Yeah. So and seeing the superchargers everywhere, it's quite a different world. And I've just been listening and following your trip around Australia. So I think the charging problem in WA will get better. And being an early adopter for most things, it's just a matter of like you say, the going down south and finding that there's no charges anywhere. But yeah, look, it's great to see the club's active, and you guys are sort of putting yourselves out there. So yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, no worries. And you're absolutely welcome. And it's exciting that you've got a Performance Y. They are real beasts. And it's just going to be an awesome car to drive. Absolutely awesome. And it's going to be worth the wait. Word on the street is that you ought to temper your expectations for this calendar year. It's a lot more likely to go into Q1. Just putting it out there as word on the street. So there are no official indications of any performance cars being for sale in Australia before the end of this year.
Right. Well, since the dollar's at 65 cents, every month I wait, it looks better on paper.
Oh, so you're converting from US to Aussie, are you, to pay?
Well, no. But my price is fixed based on it being.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yes, it is. Yes.
Price.
Yep.
And if they decide to start charging more for it because the dollar's gone south, then
they won't. No, they can't.
What?
It's fixed price. No, because
mine is fixed, but for anyone else who comes on.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tesla are actually really good, and a lot of other manufacturers have got some quite bad press about this not long ago. But if you've got an order in place and if you've put down your $350 non-refundable deposit, if the price goes down, if the price goes up, they'll honour the price that you fixed at. So, be it 100 grand or whatever you paid for your performance. But if the price, and this is highly unlikely, but if the price was to go down, then historically they have honoured that as well. So they've given you your cake and let you eat it as well. So which is quite rare.
Thanks for that. Well, I'll share a funny story with you guys. I was actually working on I was doing work the day that the email came out about the Model Ys coming on sale. And so I was doing budgets and also at the same time punching in my credit card on my phone to get the reservation of the deposit. And then 2 hours later, I got the sales contract. I'm a contracts guy and I didn't read the contract. And I looked at it in detail. I thought, hang on, I just paid 80 grand for a Tesla. What do you mean it's only got one motor?
You got the rear-wheel drive.
Yeah. And then I thought, oh shit, well, I'm not going to spend that much money and have one motor. What are my options? And the next thing you know is I've called them up and upgraded to the performance. So if they release a long range before the performance comes out, I'm going to have some interesting choices to make.
Ooh, yes, you are. And the biggest problem you're going to have is whatever you do to change will cost you time.
Yeah, and possibly money as well.
Possibly.
Yeah. Possibly because if you ordered on day one, you paid $2,800 less for your performance before on roads. Yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, we actually had we live stream, well, not live stream, but we recorded live the actual day one order morning. And I think it's about an hour into the episode where we actually get the unveiling of the website, which was rather exciting. Go
on, Harold. You gotta play the reaction. Go on.
I might actually, since we're delivery special, I'm going to try and find the order day delivery. Here order day special. Okay.
Hey Lee.
Take my time. Don't fuck up.
Yeah. Oh, could you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I wonder who that was.
I'm just gonna. Oh, there. Oh, there. I think it is. Here it is. Okay. I'll try and get the volume up loud. Okay. Here we go. Actually, there is one that says 812 there, doesn't it? You can see that. Oh, that's very smart. Fine print on the.
Your face.
Oh yeah, on yours. Yeah. On your screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is intriguing to me that the page still just says performance.
I'll see. Check me as we.
Actually, sorry.
I've
just. Got you. See, here we go. Long range. Yeah, that is strange, Ken.
Yeah.
Don't want time for this.
Oh yeah, definitely. Here we go. So white. That's it. That's all you got to do. White performance.
Yeah. Toolbar, scroll down, put your details in.
Let's have the white interior conversation again.
Oh!
It's on. I'm not getting it.
Oh, it is. You're right. Yeah.
I'm in.
I'm refreshing.
Holy shit. Yeah, sorry, Paul. You were refreshing, but it just wasn't working for you. The reason, by the way, that we actually got in, and it's a bit of an open secret that we were the first to get orders in all of Australia, was because when we were doing it, most people were actually clicking on this order page here where it says stay updated, and they were waiting for this link to change to order now. Whereas this page here is a direct order page, and it's the same as the Model 3 order page, but I'll put a Y instead for the design section. And of course, as you can see, it just says, whoops, something went wrong because that page hadn't been released yet. But when it did get released, which was this moment here.
Getting a performance anyway. Don't want time for this.
Oh yeah, definitely getting a performance. So I just kept on updating this page and didn't bother about the front page, which is what Paul was doing.
Yeah. No toolbar, scroll down, put your details in.
Let's have the white interior conversation again.
Oh! So anyway, that's how it happened. And that's why we got in really quickly. And it was a super exciting day.
Yeah. What a feeling.
A bit like being at the Royal Show when you get the Barbie bag. Very similar.
Well, at least our FPOS machines worked, so we managed to get our deposits in and get those orders processed.
Yeah, well, Russell did help us, and I was grateful for that. So I didn't
You
get
see
in.
a prop, Russell. What happened? Did you use one of your props?
Oh no, I just gave him a bit of tech advice. That's about all. Yeah.
I think it was about 10 seconds after.
Yeah, because I was
cut
too
me off.
concentrating. Because we both had to order 2 cars, right? I ordered 2, and I think between the first and the second one, I told you how to get onto it. But yeah, didn't wait too long. So I need to check out, but quickly before I go, I just wanted to share a quick update with you guys about something.
Yeah, go Russell.
Just before I start, Richard, do you reckon it's appropriate, or should I tell the whole story, or
Me?
Richard Cooper? Yeah, I told you on the weekend, on Thursday. Remember my tyre rotation story?
Go for it. I've forgotten. Can't be that bad.
I was literally over speaking to you on Thursday at John's workshop. Anyway, whatever. So I haven't been on the Ask Us Anything for about a month now because I've been traveling, but maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, my car ticked over to 10,000 kilometers. So I decided to take it in to get the wheels rotated. At the same time, I decided to get the alignment done because I hadn't had the alignment done yet, and there's potentially some, differences when it comes out of the factory. I took it into a local tyre place, and I guess to summarize, the experience was less than desirable, and to the point where people refuse to even get in the car and work on the car due to their pre-existing ideas around, I don't know, what they think is a good car and what's not a good car. So I won't go to all the spicy language that was thrown my way.
Good. Go on, just one word.
What, do you remember
It's
the story,
after
Richard?
9:30. It's after 9:30. Hang on, Joe. Turn off your microphone. Turn off your speaker, Joe.
And he did describe some, I remember now, some fruity language. It was very enjoyable. I enjoyed listening to your rendition.
Yeah, it's probably not suitable for this forum. We don't want to get me demonetized, do we, Harold? So
No, please don't. I can't afford it. I can't afford to be demonetized, Russell.
Yeah, so on reflection, I did a bit of a thought about these places that exclusively do tyre work, right? So typically when I used to own another car, I'd take my car in for service every now and again. At the same time, the mechanic would say, oh, by the way, you need new tyres and they're going to be rotated and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, no worries, just do it, right? And the mechanic would sort it out in his workshop. So the number of people that would go to these specific, bespoke tyre fitting places to get those tyres rotated and aligned would be quite minimal, because the majority of the work we get done at the same time as a service, which they wouldn't do. Now, when EVs are in the situation, they don't need the same amount of servicing as a regular car. So, if anything, the growth of EVs generally should provide more revenue for these standalone tyre workshops, because they will now have a larger target audience, because people need to make a decision. I need to get my tyres rotated. I don't go to a mechanic anymore. I go to a tyre place, right? So if anything, I should have got the freaking royal treatment. They should have rolled out the red carpet. Hey, this is where we're moving towards. Tell your mates.
You're good for business, because
Because right now, if I tell people this tyre shop, for example, I could guarantee you that no one else would ever go there ever again, based on the experience I had. So if they want to
so let's not name it. Yeah, so we won't name it, obviously, but go on.
Oh, why not? Let's name it.
No, because we're not going to get sued, and
I'll tell you later.
We're publishing stuff on the internet, which is open publishing, so we're not going to get sued.
Yeah.
All right.
Go, Russell.
So the actual, I'm aware that the same thing can be done at Tesla themselves, but I thought I wanted to build a relationship.
Yes.
I wanted to build a relationship with someone closer to me so that I can go to more often, and have someone that I could, go to and support local businesses as well. The whole thing was very uncomfortable, and it cost about, what was it? I got wheel alignment and rotation for $165. What ended up costing. Now, when they were doing the actual rotation, they couldn't quite figure out which way to put the wheels back on, and I had to tell them, no, sorry, that's the wrong one, mate. Swap it around, because they weren't swapping them correctly. And also, they had 4 jacks they picked it up on, and the car actually started wobbling around on the jacks.
Oh,
well at the same
Jesus.
time. Yeah, they refused to put the plugs on the bottom, and I had to do that for them because they were adamant that that's not how you lift a car up. And I said,
Yeah,
well, sorry,
let's not mention
yeah.
who did this, and that way one of us can go there later. It's a great idea.
Yes, but
Really
Jared,
great.
we're not going to get sued today.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
no,
it's just as simple as that, mate. We're just not
we can-
doing
no,
this.
I agree, but we could just put it on pause and then you can tell us who it is.
Okay, let's just do that.
Yeah.
So we're recording again.
We're
So welcome
recording.
back, everyone.
By the way, Russell, I've been to 2 of those places near me numerous times, and they've always been, fantastic. So it must just be that one store.
Franchise. I think they're a franchise place.
Yeah, some of the wording was like, who the F would even drive a car that does certain things, and that sort of.
Good.
And I tried to be like, when I first got there, I was expecting a little bit of like uncertainty because, it would be pretty rare at this stage for lots of cars to come through for this sort of thing. So I was comfortable to try and explain to them how you get in the car, how you drive it, how you move it around, because it's different, right? I understood there could be a sense of like, not knowing what to do. But when the person asked for my keys and I gave him a key card and he said, what the F's that? Give me your keys. I'm like, well, that's the key, mate. And then he goes, get stuffed. And the boss had to walk over, and they then walked to my car. He looked at it, turned around and said, I'm not getting that effing thing. Like, it's a little bit of a...
Unfortunately,
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
There's like
unfortunately, that happens.
thousands of owners.
Okay, one at a time.
Sorry. I'm just like, go to John Fowler.
Why? Tell us about John.
Sorry, go.
John Fowler.
Yeah. Talk about John.
So Russell, maybe I reckon you should actually escalate this for the benefit of the head franchisor, and I reckon you should put in a complaint to the franchisor and say, this is my experience at this franchisee, and it's clearly inappropriate, and it's damaging the franchise brand. And that you could say that of other people that have gone to other franchisees and have had a totally awesome experience, and put the onus onto the franchisor to stop, to help or to make this stop.
I'm happy to go back there and show them how to do it. If they want to spend the time and say, yeah, we're investing in this, I'll go back and I'll show them this is how you drive it, this is how you do these things. I'm willing to, if they want to make a change, but seriously, like, it was absolute just nonsense. And also I was there with my daughter because I needed to get her out of the house and give my wife a break. And she's like 2 years old, and she's, I'm trying to keep her under control. And it was just like they're swearing and carrying on. I'm like, this is just ridiculous. Like,
I can't believe what I'm hearing, Russell, but I completely agree with Harold, because if people don't know, they don't know. You need to, and I swear, the same franchise, 2 different stores around me, and I've been to each one 2 or 3 times. And the first time I went to both of them, it couldn't have been, the experience was on the other end of the spectrum. So, they would see the car, they go, oh my God, is that a Tesla, blah, blah. And I'd spend 40 minutes there showing him how the car can drive itself and showing him the app, and took one of them for a drive. And
well, that's why I went. I went to this same one because I remember you saying that before. So,
No, I had a similar experience at the same franchise here in Midvale, and they were brilliant. They looked at the car. I gave them the little pucks and said, "You make sure you use these to lift it up." And other than that, they were ecstatic to be working on such a car.
And one of those places that I went to, Peter Harris, I know he's gone to them as well. He's been to them a couple of times. He's had a great experience both times as well. So it just seems like it's that one store, Russell. And
Sorry,
100%.
ran out of battery. Sorry.
That's all right. 100% put a complaint in and detail. And you should mention what you mentioned at the top of your story, which is make them realise that it's in their interest to be open to EVs, because that's where their future revenue is going to come from. The Model Y is going to be the best-selling car in Australia within 2 to 3 years.
Doesn't matter who you are, what your car is. You deserve to be treated just like anyone else.
Exactly.
You know, and not outrageously like they have. I mean, they could not have.
Yeah,
They're
what I'm
basically begging you
nervous
to
about
walk
is
away. That's the problem.
their reluctancy to assist, I suppose, gives me nervousness about the work they carried out on my car. So the fact they weren't willing to take any advice and any sort of education, they needed to remove parts of the underside of the car to get to the pieces and whatnot. I mean, the way they're going at it, who knows how bad it is? I could have rounded studs in there. I could have like damaged bits and pieces because, you know, some sort of malicious sort of, you know, I mean, I was sort of considering going to Tesla and say, hey guys, like, can you check it out for me? Because I could have been screwed, sort of thing. So
well, that deserves you, like I said, communicating with the head franchisor and saying, look, what happened there was just not on at all, and it left you feeling intimidated and concerned with your car, with the quality of the work, and you know what might happen to the next person.
The good thing
who
is,
dares
Russell,
darken their area with an EV?
the good thing is, Russell, I've met people that are like that speak about the Teslas like that. I've met them, and now I know where they work. So that's a good thing. So that's great. Solve that problem. So, I've met a guy came to our work to service a forklift. We basically just got rid of our gas-powered forklift. We've got electric-powered forklift due to my recommendations. And the guy came out to service a gas-powered one, and I drove the Tesla to work that day. And he was like, oh, what's that? I said, it's a Tesla. Oh, you can't use those, mate. They don't go very far. Blah, blah, blah. And you try to educate him. I spoke to the guy for about 15 minutes, and it just didn't matter what I said. He just wasn't interested. They've got a clear view mind of what they want and what they're going to run, and that's it. And that's the bottom line. And I think you've just experienced a couple more people like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's people that don't believe in electric cars.
All right, so we got a question from Andy. Apart from RAC, are there other cheaper or better insurance?
I'll see you, Russ.
Good to see you, mate.
I'll see you, Russ. Yeah. Thanks for coming, mate. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Thanks
Make
for being
sure
there.
fine. Make sure you're right in.
So Andy's asked, apart from RAC, are there other? Oh God. That just went, sorry. Are there other cheaper or better insurance companies for a Tesla owner?
Well, you can answer that.
The short answer is, if you're getting your new Tesla insured, the RAC probably has the best initial deal. What seems to happen, and this is just my personal experience, is that when your car gets older, that deal seems to worsen over time. And then there may be other insurance companies that have a comparable price or a better price. Just again, this is just my own personal experience, not personal advice or anything. I had a Model X. Well, my brand new Model Y is insured with RAC. Great price, great features. My 5.5-year-old Model X is insured with Budget Direct because I wasn't happy with the price for my X that was valued at less than my Y, and yet its insurance was going to cost more than double.
Harold,
for reasons.
While we're talking about personal experiences, so I've had the same experience with RAC, and I've had my home and contents with RAC as well, which happened to lapse without me realising. Would have been nice if they just picked up the phone and said, by the way, your policy has expired. Did you want to renew it? But anyway, so obviously the renewal didn't come. It expired. So I rang them and I said, oh, look, any chance you can reinstate it? And they said, no, it's been too long now. The only other option is to actually start afresh and do the whole thing again. So I'm like, okay, well, then I'm going to get other quotes from other people as well. But anyway, interestingly, because we started again, and I think that's how their system works, because the policy lapsed, the new policy was like for like, was $800 cheaper, $800 a year cheaper than
the renewal.
So maybe that's one way. I mean, you're risking having your car uninsured for a couple of weeks or whatever. So it's not really worthwhile doing. But if you can park your car in a garage or somewhere, lock it up with a it's maybe it's just built into this. And I queried. I said, look, why is it cheaper? And they just said, look, just the way the system spat out the promise. So
I dare say, without trying to besmirch the RAC or any other insurance company or any other business, perhaps their policy is treat your strangers better than your customers and suck them in and then screw them later on.
Yes.
Which sounds a bit harsh.
I've taken my house and my contents off them because they're very difficult to deal with, and that's putting it politely. And I paid my car insurance today, and I got the renewal from them, so I went online to check. It put the premium up $200 from the letter I got, and the value was the same, but they're just so terrible to do. The premium went up from last year, $300 dearer than last year, and the valuation has gone down 20 grand for this year. They are just bastards to deal with. They really are.
When they want to renew with them, you can't ring them up and just give them a credit card. They want you to do it online. They don't actually want to speak to you.
No, they don't want to talk.
If you do it online, it's going to be $100 cheaper.
But if you get them, if you first insure your car with them, great service, great price. Just see what happens in the second year and the third year and subsequent. Just see what happens. But absolutely, in WA, they are the cheapest, I think, for first insuring a new Tesla. Yes. So, why not just...
With claims as well, I think it just depends on who you get, because I've had some really great experiences with RAC with claims.
Their claims department is one of the best. Their claims department is brilliant, and they're very good people in the claims department. Very good.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's the insurance story. Frank and fair, they need to have a bouquet for people that first join, but they need a brickbat when it comes to renewals. but look, maybe a lot of banks do it the same. You'll get a better interest rate when you change banks than when you stay with a bank.
Correct.
And they all know it, and they all do it.
That's right.
They treat strangers better than their own customers, their loyal customers.
Yes.
Just a word.
Night, have a good night, guys. I'll catch you on Sunday, Paul. Whoever I see.
Thank you.
See you on Sunday, Paul.
Bye.
I'm going to head off too, guys, as well. So I'll see you guys on Sunday.
See you, Alex. See you there.
All right, see you there. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Jared.
See you Sunday.
It looks like we're all disappearing.
Yeah.
I'm going as well because I'm actually on holiday. I'm in KL at the moment.
Oh, nice. Lovely, Nigel. You're a bit closer to the SpaceX rocket. So how is sunny KL today?
What's up?
It was very nice walking around. I did, I don't know, must have been 10, 15 kilometres walking today.
You go and see the Petronas Towers.
I couldn't hear you. I was speaking.
We saw it the last time we were here, but we did walk up that way, and then we went up the KL Tower and had a look around.
Very good.
You're not test driving another Model Y there, Nigel, are you?
There are virtually zero EVs here. The price of petrol, 60 cents a litre. Yeah, you don't want to buy an EV here. It's 60 cents a litre.
Wow. That's very good. Well, or not, whatever.
That's very wrong.
Yes. Wow. Well, you enjoy your trip, Nigel. Thanks for joining us. And pump out those videos. You grumpy old person.
and thanks for publishing the Talk Like Q&A, your last video.
Yeah, no, that's good. It went very well. So, I will be pumping out more videos. I've done one while I'm here, and I had one short scheduled to go. So,
an international version.
Sorry?
International edition.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm going now. I'll see you guys next week. I'll be home.
Very good. No worries, Nigel. Look forward to seeing you next week. Right. Take care.
Bye.
Enjoy. See ya.
Thanks, Nigel.
All right. So is anyone else? I don't think anyone else is new because they wouldn't have lasted that long But although if you are, do pipe up. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I just did a check on the RAC insurance for my car. If it was registered in my wife's name, no accident history, nothing like that. And when I first got my car insured, it was like for 100 grand performance, and it was 870, and now it's like 1300, and it's still insured for 100 grand. And the agreed value maximum on the one I just did then was 90 grand, and it was $1,800. So I don't understand. So there you go. That's coming in as a client. My wife would be a new client owning this car, and it was $1,000 cheaper than I paid when I first got the car. So there's a bit of a mystery going on there.
Yeah, and that becomes very frustrating.
I got a quote for my Performance Model Y coming, and it was $800 again.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So 800 to 1,800.
Yeah, and it's one's new and one's 3 years old.
And that's what my Model X, they wanted 1,800 for mine, which was valued less than my Y. And yet my Y was $800 and something dollars. So go figure.
Is it worth Tokwa making well, you find it difficult, you can't contact them, a representation to them? You'd think with all the new Ys and that coming in would be in their own best interest, but they don't seem to want to talk to anyone.
One of our members actually works at the RAC, so
yeah, but not in that.
No.
It's
the insurance arm is beholden to itself, I think.
Yeah, and it just look, but I mean, look, and frustratingly, even at those ridiculously high prices, that is still cheap compared to the Eastern Seaboard. So everyone on the Eastern Seaboard goes, "What the hell are you whinging about? It's amazing you can get something as cheap as 1,800." And don't insult us by pretending that you can get it for 800, because I just can't believe it, because they get quotes of $3.5 grand.
It is true.
So we're a bit of an anomaly. Although obviously Pete and I mean, having driven through Melbourne and Sydney and even Brisbane, you can see why, the driving is a bit more aggressive. So you could see a lot more panel damage, but
I resemble that comment. Just out of interest, I insured with another insurer starting with an A and maybe 2 A's.
Yes.
And paid $842 for just a Model 3 rear-wheel drive. So,
and that's in Melbourne.
Yes.
Wow.
Now that's on new business. So what happens on renewal, I don't know. Quite likely with the elasticity of prices for continuing customers, they do tend to take advantage of that. So I'll provide a full report next time around, but we'll see how we go.
Richard, is that agreed value or market value or new for old?
It's market value.
That may be the issue, because who decides that market value? Is it Glasses Guide? Is it Red Book? And
they tend to take they use Glasses Guide typically for claims processing, but they also use it as part of their pricing engine as well.
Yeah, that's interesting, because you've always got the risk that because Glasses Guide at the moment is artificially low compared to the reality of today. So, no 2-year-old EV has depreciated to any great extent, whereas Glasses will say it's only 70% of its new value.
Yeah. So theoretically, on renewal, the market value has gone down. So theoretically, then the premium should go down, but it doesn't always work that way.
No.
So
it'll be interesting.
It comes down to their the propensity of people to claim, what parts cost, how much it costs for them to find an authorised repairer. So all those things play out to vary the costs of repair. And as the car gets older, it's more likely to be involved in various things. So anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, and I'm glad to hear that you actually got it for as little as $800 because I've been hearing people in Eastern Seaboard saying I got, quotes from all over the place and they were like multi-thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Which is really...
The market value will have something to do with that, I suspect. But how much is your access as well?
They've got their base excess is 1,600. So,
yeah, well, so that's very high. I mean, the RAC is about $500 or $600, I think, is their standard. But you can lower it.
Whose dog's barking?
Sorry, I'll get rid of that. Yeah,
not mine.
Sorry. Fine.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry,
I
Pete.
did that also. I also added in glass protection. So I actually dialed up the excess and added glass protection in. So you get free windscreen cover and any glass damage, one claim a year without having to pay an excess. So that was my trade-off, but it still came at about $840.
Yeah, and look, that's very reasonably priced. There's no complaint at that sort of level. But it's if and when it goes up to double that or triple that it becomes painful. But sorry, was yours just a rear wheel drive Model 3?
3, yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
So look, I might bail out this conversation.
Oh yes, because you're in the future. You're actually into tomorrow. So welcome to tomorrow. How is it? Worth staying up for?
Yes, I think we're still here, so that's always a good sign. But look, thanks very much for your help.
Absolute pleasure.
I'll probably dial in another time and just pick someone's brains on various things.
Yeah, and like I said, look, for the whole $20, and you can just join us closer to when you're going to do the trip. We'll send you over stuff and help you along the way and all that sort of stuff. So
I reckon I'll be doing it tomorrow, and we'll kick this thing off.
Oh, thank you. That'd be awesome. But yeah, you're totally welcome, and we welcome anyone from anywhere, and we'd love to see you. And absolutely, you're more than welcome to be our guest as far as if we have a meetup or something, and whatever. So
I'll meet you in Ceduna.
That's right. We'll meet halfway. Yeah, that's right. Good idea.
We should also just quickly mention while we're on the topic. So one thing that Harold didn't mention is that we, and thanks mainly to Harold, we buy some of the chargers and like the cons charger, and because we're a not-for-profit, we sell them to members who want to actually buy them rather than just borrow them. So the cons charger, the cheapest I found on the internet, was $1,380, and the club sells them for $750 each.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
Members,
that's more than worth the $20 membership fee. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
there you go. Cool, awesome, Richard. Time for you to go to bed.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, and you're more than welcome any other time on Ask Us Anything or anything else. So it's all good.
Okay. Thanks to everyone who offered comments. So thanks very much.
No worries. Pleasure. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Alrighty. So has anyone else got any other news or anything? There were a few things. Oh, we had the DART mission that was obviously a screaming success. That was pretty good. It proves that you can smash $300 million worth of something into a rock somewhere out deep in space, and it works. Worked pretty well. I'll try and get the video of it in a second. But yeah, any other bits of news or comments or anything?
Just got a question about the side cameras. I've been getting errors on my Y, saying blinded or not usable at night. Is that typical on country roads?
I've had that happen to me a few times. You can get it. I've seen it. Actually, I've seen it in Carnarvon a couple of times, which is really strange. But if you've got sort of like a flat, unchanging, if you're near a wheat farm or something, and you got just a field of wheat, and it's dark or twilight or something, it kind of, the cameras just freak out and go, oh, I must be blinded or I must be impaired, and you'll get the message that says not all, some cameras obstructed, not all features available. These features may come back. It's still, autopilot still works, cruise control still works, but it just says some features are limited. And it's like, I don't really know what's limited. Maybe automatic lane change if you had enhanced autopilot or full self-driving. But it just seems to every now and then freak out for no real reason that's obvious. And then later on, it just comes back.
I get it all the time, how daily, literally daily, and especially when it's dark, if there's no street lights around and minimal line markings on the side of the road, I get it quite all the time. I can't say I've ever noticed any diminished functionality. Everything seems to work fine.
Have you tried like giving your windscreen, especially where the 3 forward-facing cameras are, like a good clean, just in case?
No, it's the side mirrors, like the side ones, like where it's looking into the bush and it's pitch black because it's or the only light is your headlights. That's when it says side cameras are blinded, and it's like, well, fair enough, though I can't see out there either.
Yeah, so mine's here saying the pillars, and it seems to only the Y. I did have condensation in there when I picked it up. That seemed to have gone away. I was wondering if it's left like a bit of crud on the inside of the glass. So it's just going worse. But seeing what you guys said, if it's more typical, then it's okay.
Have a good look. There is a Gore-Tex that's in there. So it's, Gore-Tex obviously lets airflow, lets the moisture out but not in. But if you optically have a look, don't forget if there's a bit of, the cameras are focused to, infinity, I guess. So if there is a little bit of mist or something, excuse me, mist in against the glass, the cameras probably don't really see it because they're not focused that close. But don't know. But like Shane has said, he gets it a lot. I get it a bit. And like I said, I usually get it when there's a plain indistinct.
Yeah, but Harold, you've got street lights where you live.
No. That's not where I get it. No, I get it. I've seen it like in Carnarvon when I did the big lap, and where there's like a field of something that's just really plain and just not very strong lighting. But absolute nighttime, it doesn't freak out. It's when it's like dusk, when it must think that it's just being obscured, even though, it's nothing's changing because it's just all the same field of wheat or whatever. So I don't know. Yeah. It is a bit strange. But look, if I was
to have a grizzle, then I would say that the recent update on the autopilot or the cruise control, where you put it in cruise control and it insists that the windscreen wipers go into auto mode, I am very, very grumpy about that one.
Yeah,
because
justifiably so.
Many bugs. Sorry.
Justifiably so.
Yeah, it does not take very many bugs, and all of a sudden those windscreen wipers just insist on being on, and it basically makes cruise control anywhere out of the city. It's just not. It's not fun. It's not practical to stop and wash your windscreen every half an hour. It's just, yeah. Anyway,
dead right.
Grump
dead right,
said.
Shane. The other problem too, now that you've got Tesla Vision, is it also insists on auto high beams, and that's really painful.
I've noticed that one too. Definitely.
And as we know, the way you combat it is you got to go tap tap push. So you basically go tap push, because that's right hand, double tap right hand to engage autopilot or tack, and a push on the left hand stalk forwards at night time, which then almost instantly disengages high beam, and it will do that for the rest of the session.
I thought it jumped back to
no. So the way it works is
the wipers definitely jump back.
Yes,
I thought the headlights did too.
No, so if you do a push while you're in autopilot, the high beams will stay suppressed forever as long as you continue to be in autopilot. But if you change lanes and you disengage autopilot or for whatever reason, then when you re-engage autopilot, it restarts auto high beam. Or actually, auto high beam never went away. You just suppressed it. So, and you can't, if you deselect auto high beam in your light menu on your car, autopilot will ignore it and just turn it back on.
The issue with the high beams is not that it won't dip. It will always dip when you dip. But the catch I find is that it won't go like back to full high beam.
Yeah.
You know, if you got a bright sign or something in front of you, it just won't go back. And it's just like, you know.
And then you got to pull the stalk forwards. And then you got to pull the stalk towards you to override it. But you'll notice that the lights, when you go on proper high beam, your low beam lights actually change angle and face upwards, which is really cool to see. Yeah. But when you pull on the manual high beam, like flashing someone, then it comes on, the high beam comes on, but the low beam doesn't go up higher. So you get like a restricted high beam.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. But, you know, putting things into perspective, had that been any other car, you're either stuck with that for life or you've got to go back in and, you know, argue with the manufacturer to have it fixed. Couple of months, software update, and she'll be right.
To be fair, any other car, you put it on cruise control and it just does cruise control. And I'll tell you what, I'm pretty happy with a cruise control setting. Just does cruise control.
Yeah, but
and similarly with the while I'm on my grumpy, I've got my grumpy pants on. Similarly, the recent update with the lanes and identifying the lanes, I've had a grizzle here before about, you know, if you're on a road that's had the shoulders widened specifically, where you know the shoulders are widened, so the color of the tarmac on the shoulders is a different shade to the color of the rest of the road, especially if it doesn't have lines marked on the side of the road, which is pretty common. Well, where I live, it's pretty common. And the car doesn't recognize the side of the road as being the side, like, basically
it shortchanges you. It looks at the
every time I'm in the car, it beeps at me once usually within 5 minutes of leaving my house. It says beep, 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 autocorrect, and it starts driving me back somewhere where I don't really want to be. So I go into the thing and change the setting and say, don't autocorrect my steering. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because it's interpreting the shade change as the end of the line, as the demarcation for the lane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But my argument to that is, you know, if you're driving a car 10 years ago, you would have said, look, I don't care for this cruise control. It's no good. It doesn't adjust for the speed of the cars in front of me, blah, blah, whatever. I'd be happy enough with a car that I can just drive myself. Now you want cruise control, but you're saying, yeah, but I'm just happy with cruise control. I don't want the automatic high beams and the automatic windscreen wipers. Once that's solved in hopefully a year's time and you start loving it, you know, you won't go back.
My catch is, Pete, it worked 2 weeks ago and now it doesn't.
But you know, Tesla always does 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's you know, that's the nature of improvement. Yeah, the nature of the beast.
I get it. I get it. I got me grumpy pants on. I'll admit that.
You're allowed to have your grumpy pants on. And look, you're you know, sorry, Joe. Yeah, pisses me off as well. You know,
you can always go and speak to those guys at the tyre place. They'd give you a bit of advice.
They would. They would.
They would help you. They would help you. They're obviously a kind, professional organisation that want to help people and work with you. You know, so just don't take a 2-year-old child when you go.
Yes. So speaking of grumpy pants, imagine how grumpy this object would feel in a couple of moments.
Oh, it's the lunar.
Like this thing's just minding its own business.
Is this Armageddon 2, Harold? Is this the sequel?
It's 2.1, yeah. Yep, that's the one. So it obviously missed the big object, so that was a bit of a fail. And then it thought, oh, I'll try and go for the little one. This thing cost $300 million. And that's the last image, which it didn't get to complete before it smashed into the little orbiting moonlet thing. So there you go.
Joey, how's your Model Y going? Joey? Thumbs up. You just give me a finger.
Yeah. Good, thanks. No.
How's your Model Y going? Good?
Yeah.
No complaints? No issues?
No complaints. I like it.
Are you frozen?
No.
Better than your Model 3?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't don't do anything with the Model 3 anymore. It's the Y. That is our car.
Oh, excuse me.
Over it. See, it's over already. It's
Gone.
like you got the shiny new toy, and what Model 3?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that Model 3 that's been loyal to you all those years, supporting
It's like
you
my
in the hard
ex.
times.
It's no different to my ex. My ex and I are over. It's not.
Yeah.
Look, it's not it. It's me. It's all about me, and me and my ex are just not a thing anymore. I'm sorry.
Harold,
Yeah.
can
You'll
we,
get a
have
return
I
on
got a
your ex,
deal for
won't
you? Have I got a deal for you?
Ah, dear.
It's freezing.
Yes. You might have to take a number there, Shane, because I got a couple of others looking. But
Speaking of numbers, Richard Chapman, where are you? There you go.
he was there for a moment ago.
Oh, there he is back.
He's gone sideways.
So Sunday, Richard, 7:45. You be there? Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
I might bring the lurgy.
Yeah, that's okay. You can bring the link. No worries. And Joey, looks like maybe you'll be there Sunday.
Yeah, I've just checked with Peel. Well, he'll be there, not me.
Right. Thank you.
Have you got an X?
With the car, sorry, not just him.
Do you have an X, Jared?
An X?
Model X?
I've got a few X's over the years.
I knew you were going to say that.
I don't really want to talk those ones because we've kind of moved on.
Right.
This,
we have.
Model
Okay,
X.
so staying on message, do you have a Model X appearing at the Como Car Show?
I don't at this stage. I'm working on that, and I was
What about-
going to talk to you about that tomorrow. I was going to call you.
What about the burnt orange one?
I tried to ring him. He didn't answer today, but he might be away. But
He might be.
working. Right?
He might be
he works
working.
away a lot.
Why don't you ask Harold?
Well,
Yeah, I was just
ask
gonna. Well, I
Harold
was
tomorrow.
just gonna say, I could possibly. Oh, geez, that means I've got to drive it. Oh, I'm so over that car.
Are you trying to start a bidding war on me, Harold? Like already?
No,
I've
you don't
offered
want my ex. Anyone that I talk about my ex. What I say is, yeah, take it for a spin, and when you've had it taken a drive of it, just go and buy a Model Y instead because it's a heaps better car, and it's similarly priced. And I mean that sincerely. I actually mean that sincerely. Just go and buy a Model Y.
We
you
need
know?
a Model X. That'd be good.
Brand new shiny car with horizontal screen. 4 years of warranty. New battery technology.
8 years on the battery.
Superior
Upgraded computer.
media control unit.
Upgraded computer.
The full self-driving computer's, I think, the same, but it's all the rest. Why buy something that's 5.5 years old when you can buy something that's brand new? For a similar price. It's a brand new toy.
All right, I'll wait for me Cybertruck then. All right.
No, everyone's waiting for the Cybertruck. Jeez,
Let's get a Model Y, Shane. Just sell your 3 because your Model Y can tow 1.6 tons.
I'm good.
Cybertruck can do 7.5 tons.
Well, yeah, but you can't get it for another few more years yet.
I think another 1.5, 2 years.
What? Cybertruck?
Yeah.
I'll bet you $1,000, Jared, that it's longer than that.
2028, I reckon.
Oh no, not that long. Oh no, don't say
Is
that,
that long,
Richard.
Fred?
No.
2028.
No, don't do that. No. If it's 2028, I'll fly to America and bloody buy one and just bring it over.
I can't wait that long. Crazy.
No, 2020, late 2025. Oh, yeah, I don't know. It'll be a while.
2025 is when full self-driving will work.
No.
No, that's more like 2028, Richard. I think you got it right the first time. He's got the wrong things. Cybertruck 2025, FSD 2028.
No, I disagree. I'm saying Cybertruck 2024, FSD 2025.
What, in Australia? No way.
No way.
Is that 2024
It's being
in
recorded.
America or in Australia, Pete?
No, doesn't matter. Both.
Both?
Yep.
Both.
Wow.
Cybertrucks. Yeah.
I had a plasterer come over to my house the other day to fix up some stuff that we were doing, and he just bought a Dodge Ram, and because it can tow 4.5 ton. After I told him the Cybertruck can tow 7.5 ton, he was a bit upset. But the other thing he's upset about is to drive that car, that Dodge Ram, he has to get a not an MR license, but the one before an MR. Is it an
HR? HR.
No, not HR. No, that's after MR. Before
MR. LR. No.
LR. Yeah.
Light rigid.
I think it's a low.
Light rigid.
Yeah, that's what he had to go and get that license to drive the Dodge Ram truck.
Really?
I was like, really? Yeah, I thought that was a bit bizarre.
It must be because of its weight or size.
Well, Cybertruck, you're going to be able to drive that on a standard license.
Yes, yeah, because it's the size of an F-150, so you can drive an F-150 with a normal license.
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah.
Which is why, I mean, people, it's funny. I've spoken to people that ought to know better, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm not sure if the Cybertruck's coming to Australia," and it's like, it's an absolute certainty because
100%.
You can buy an F truck, any of the F trucks, and drive them here, and the Cybertruck is the size of an F-150.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't have taken the money if they weren't coming to Australia.
Exactly. That's right.
Fraud. That'd be fraudulent action if that was the case.
Yeah, exactly.
It would not be the case.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, forget my ex, but yeah. So Jared, if I guess I can bring my ex
with a tent.
I guess
you bring the tent with you as well, the marquee.
That's right. I got the tent as well. So that means I have to bring my ex.
You don't have to stay there all day, Harold. You can just lock it up and.
What time do you need to be
leave
there?
the key with me, and I'll look after it.
Harold,
quarter to 8.
So
yeah.
Quarter to 8. Oh,
quarter to 8 at Angelo Street in South Perth, opposite the shopping. There's a little shopping centre
Why
directly across the road.
quarter to 8 when it starts at 10?
No, you have to have all the cars in by 9 o'clock, and they want us to be in there a bit earlier.
And you want to get a good spot and everything.
Yeah, correct. We'll lay it all out. So there's plenty of places to go for coffee. You can take the kids, Joe. The zoo's just down the road.
No, I'll not bring the kids when it's that time. They're on school holidays. That's far too early. But Seb, I'll get Seb up and get him there.
Yes, Seb's good with that. He loves.
Because you'd have to leave at 7 to get there that time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you live in Jarrah. That's right.
Yeah.
South of North Albany.
And how long do you have to stay there for?
About 2:33 at latest.
Okay. Cool.
So it'll be, you don't have to stay there the whole time. If you want to wander off, if Seb wants to wander off, you can come back. Or lots of people asking questions.
No, you know him. He'll have to stay and talk with everyone who wants to.
That's right. And Pete Trophy's going to be there, and he's going to be doing some face painting. You can do some face painting stuff. And
Jared, I have a question. Oh, I can speak.
A bit late. I told you the other day where babies come from.
Oh, it's not that question again, but I will ask you that again later. If I brought the Harley as well as the car? Like if Emma drove the car and I drove the bike, is that all good?
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm not saying that will happen, but it might if they want to come as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be awesome, Richard.
Oh
Yeah,
dear, now I've said it. That has to happen. No, now Emma has to get up early on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's good for it. You know, it's body cleansing for early get up and stuff. Yeah, it's good to do.
Is Friday
Yeah,
the 30th? That is, isn't it?
Friday, yes,
Friday.
it is, yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
it definitely is because it's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday. Toot, toot. All aboard. Happy birthday. Oh. Feel free to join in.
There.
Yeah, I know.
Darren?
All right, I've just
yeah.
scheduled a service for Friday so I can get my car roadworthy. So yeah, I'll bring my X on Sunday, but I might just leave it there, dump and go.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I'm over it. I can't bear to spend any time with it, so I'll just drop it and go.
So we'll have a S, a X, and a Y, and some Model 3s. That's great. Good.
No, we'll have sexy.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Sexy. I can't spell sexy. I've got 2 Y's, an S, and an X. So all I can spell is sykesy. Sykesy.
Which is great if you feel that you need to be committed. that's the version. So
absolutely.
Say good night. Thanks very much, everybody.
No worries, Andy.
Very much
Hopefully we've got some food for thought. But yeah, you only live once. Just go and buy whatever you want. Just buy it.
Andy, I've got a Model 3, and it's definitely. And I'm not a religious person. I don't. Let's believe, but it is definitely the best car I've ever driven or ever been a part of in my life. So every time I get in it, I feel like I'm 21, and it's very dangerous for me because I feel like I'm going to lose my license. But the good news is it's registered in my wife's name, so she'll lose her license first, which is great. I'll get another chance. But no, it does make you feel very young, and you do some some exciting things in your life with it. It's great to drive. So, and I didn't get that same feeling with the Toyota. So I don't know.
Oh, what a feeling! And you didn't.
Yeah, you definitely
All right.
get the same feeling.
It's Andy's bedtime.
Yeah.
Good night, Andy. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and you're welcome anytime. Absolutely, anytime at all.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and your patience as well with thousands of questions.
Oh,
thank you.
Totally cool. That's our job. That's what we do, and we love doing it. So welcome back anytime, and yeah, just get a car ordered and just enjoy it. It's awesome.
Thank you. All right.
No worries.
See ya.
See you, mate.
See you later. See you, Andy.
Thanks.
I have a question in regards to Model Y.
Yes.
So I bought Model Y, picked up less than 12 hours. It was gone back to Tesla because it refuses to put any gear. It wouldn't go in a drive, neutral, or parking. So they had it for 4 to 5 days, and they ended up replacing the whole drive unit. Of course, which was in the warranty and everything. It's 4 to 5 days on a very first day after 150K on the drive. I'm glad I parked in my garage. This is where it refuses to do anything. So everything else was working, but just we have on a top corner where we see P, N, D, and R and stuff.
Yes, it wouldn't go.
It was just 4 gray dots. That's it.
Yeah, right.
So they ended up
unit.
towing my car. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes, go on.
Has
Yeah, that's
anyone
terrible.
else had the same kind of trouble, or it was just only me, lucky one?
Makes you wonder
You're
how
the
they delivered it.
You're the lucky one. It must have been a inverter failure in the drive unit, which would be super rare. But yeah, look, someone else I know, their battery pack had to be replaced before the car could be delivered, and it was just Tesla being careful. So look, you've got 200,000 cars being delivered in a quarter, and perhaps 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 of them in that whole quarter had a failure. And unfortunately, Bilal, you've obviously just got the short straw this quarter, but that's happened to virtually no one else that we know of.
How long did you say it took before Tesla rectified it?
Sorry, what was that?
How long did you say you had to wait before you got the new drive unit?
4 to 5 days, because the weekend came in between Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, they had to get the part from Eastern State. When that arrived, and in a couple of days, they just called me and they said, "Yep, it's ready to pick up." But other than that, I had no trouble.
That in itself tells you how rare it is that they don't even keep the drive unit here in Perth. So,
yeah,
and they've delivered at least 500 cars or close to it, 500 Model Ys. So
it's just a misfortunate thing. I mean, it all comes down to there's problems with every bit of electronic equipment in the world. Doesn't matter who makes it. There's always going to be an issue. It's how they deal with that problem is the main thing. And Tesla's way of dealing with things is a lot better than anyone else that I know.
100% agree with that, because when I went to like all this process, this was my first EV, first service, very first day. And yeah, experience was brilliant. And since I have it already driven in like, I think less than 2 weeks, I've driven like 1500 Ks on it, because I'm just finding excuse to drive. It's just a big gadget that I'm sitting in. So yeah.
Yeah. So yes, try and put it behind you, because it literally was just bad luck. It's got nothing to do with build quality or anything. This thing is just one of those rare events. And yeah, look, and look, don't worry about your drive unit that's in it now. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, just enjoy your car. Look, it's a good war wound. What's his name? Richard Cooper, who was with us earlier. He got his car and he took his family for a drive around the corner, and he accidentally just tapped the corner of a curb, I think it was, or maybe it was one of those drains or something round a roundabout, and it peeled a tire. I don't know if it damaged the rim, but it basically popped the tire. So his car, 10 minutes after he got it, or 15 minutes after he got it, it was on a flatbed going back to Tesla to get repaired. And it's like these things just happen. Oh, he waited 1,000 days or something for his Model 3. So it's just bad luck just can happen to good people. It's just random. And, it'll probably be the only thing that'll ever go wrong with your car ever. And, you'll enjoy it,
Yeah, I hope that's the only thing, because I do a lot of like Southwest trips, and just being stuck is just another paranoia. That's all. Otherwise,
but put it behind you. It's not a reflection on the car itself. Drive that we've never heard in the 4 years or in the 5 years since I've been owning a Tesla, I've never heard of that in Perth or even in Australia for that matter, for a drive unit to fail like that. I'm just guessing it must have been something in the inverter. So it's not physical, it's just the electronics. And there was obviously some fault that, like Peter said, it was surprising that they could have delivered it, because these things have to be driven on and off the ships. So it was working perfectly at some stage, but clearly something catastrophic happened. But it probably would have been something simple like a component or solder dag or something loose, and then it just sort of arcs across something and pops a fuse, that's it, sort of thing, or something like that, something catastrophic.
I would take comfort in the statistics. So, the Tesla is a much more reliable car than any internal combustion engine car. And, just anecdotally, when Harold and I did our laps, I saw a Ferrari being loaded up on the side of the road onto a flatbed. Probably saw about 8 or 9 other cars on the side of the road. There was a guy, I can't remember where it was, but he was towing a caravan. He was stuck there for 4 hours, and he had another 4 hours to go waiting for a part to arrive because his car was stuck. So, and there Harold and I drove 14,000 kilometres brand new cars without a single issue. So
Yeah, I followed both of you on what you call Twitter updates. I was keeping update with the charger and stuff like that because my plan is to go from here to Sydney and Melbourne.
cool.
So hopefully in a couple of months' time, I will drive there.
Excellent.
Yeah, and it's easy. It really is. Just takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of flexibility. The biggest currency is flexibility. That's the most valuable currency when you're doing this. Is just take it easy, see how you go, and see what accommodation there is. See how the day goes. One recommendation is it's better to do it in spring or autumn, say, or actually if you're going across Nullarbor, even summer's okay. Because you've got more daylight hours. So you've got more driving time, basically, which can be handy, as opposed to the dead of winter when you've only got, 8 hours or 9 hours of daylight. And that's everything takes a bit longer.
Yeah. Another question. Anyone has a PPF on their vehicle? The paint protection film. And
Nigel's gone.
Sorry?
Oh, no, I was just saying Nigel's gone. He's a big believer in PPF. He has it. Jared, you don't have PPF on yours?
No. Richard Cooper.
He's asleep, I think.
Nigel Saunders, I think he has it. Nigel, do you have PPF on your car? I thought you did. Okay. That's the only one that I know of. Oh, and
my question actually was in regards to PPF. Would that decrease the what you call range because of the weight of PPF or not? It wouldn't make any difference.
No. Rounding error. No, PPF would weigh 5 kilos if it's lucky. Not even.
Yeah.
Probably not even that. Probably 2-3 kilos. It's nothing. Yeah. No. It's got. In fact, a little bit of extra weight doesn't really add a lot of. It doesn't affect your efficiency that much, because especially like round driving around the city in a petrol car, it does, because every time you accelerate, you've got to accelerate the weight. But when you slow down, you waste that extra energy in your brakes just to heat your discs. But in an EV, you get the energy back that you've used to accelerate the car. So the only efficiency you're losing when carrying extra weight is the rolling resistance of your tires that it would increase mostly.
Oh, okay.
So
it wouldn't make any difference. No.
You can probably counteract that weight by just pumping up your tires by a few PSI more, and they'll probably.
It's only we're talking PPF. It's only 2 kilos, 3 kilos if you're lucky. It's nothing. It's
Yeah, I dropped off my car today for the PPF for the whole car, and also I bought that inflator from the Bunnings, Ozito one.
Oh yes.
Yep. Yeah. So I've been keeping up with the 45 PSIs and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
45 PSI cold is a good. Good pressure. Yeah.
That was actually Harold who recommended, so I just go with it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. 45 is super safe. Look, the Tesla recommends 42. If you do 45, that is completely cool. No problem at all.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, my wife's my wife's car was 45 actually, interestingly enough. So it's a little bit higher than Tesla recommends. And that was that was brand new yesterday.
Mine was as well, Harold. Mine came out at 45.
Yeah, right.
Well.
Cool. Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
So, I wonder if could that be because of cold conditions in Shanghai, perhaps, where it might have been 42 cold, but for them, if it was like 5 degrees or something, I don't know. I have to run the numbers on that to see what the adjustment would be. But yeah. So yeah, 45 is completely fine, totally fine. Yeah, and you'll get slightly better range.
Yeah, one last question. I'm charging during the daytime. I'm a night shifter, so I have a solar 6.5 kilowatt, and I'm charging the vehicle on it every day, 100%. So does that mean that because I'm getting the solar power, so I'm not actually doing anything with the Synergy or anything, I'm just charging it for free, I guess?
Yes. So if you can, what you could do is just start charging, say at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
Yeah, that's the scheduled time, 9 o'clock. Yeah.
And are you charging just on 10 amps?
I'm charging on a Gen 3 wall charger.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. So are you charging with 3-phase or single phase?
Single phase.
Okay, single phase. So what you should do is set your current to 10, 15 amps maybe. Not too high, because you want to make sure that you don't care if your car finishes at 12 o'clock at midday or at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So you might as well, the chances, because you know how your gain on your solar increases, at 8 a.m. it's not very much at all, 9 a.m. it's a fair bit more, 10 it's a lot more, and then 11, 12 it's quite a lot, but doesn't change all that much. So you're better off charging a little bit slower, but never pulling in from the grid. Depends. And if you're charging every day and you're not really driving that much, even 10, 15 amps. At 10 amps, you'll get 14 Ks an hour, and at 15 amps, you'll get 21 Ks an hour.
Harold, if he doesn't want to be pulling anything from the grid, he'd have to go right down to about 5 amps, because 5 amps gives you, 3.6 kilowatts.
No, he's single phase, Pete. No, he's single phase.
Oh, single phase, sorry.
Single phase. Yeah. So say 15 amps is 3 kilowatts, 3 point something kilowatts, which is about half your solar's capacity in panels. So that's probably not too bad. But if you've got, what you should do is do the experiment. Say you've got 50 or 60 Ks depleted, or maybe 80 Ks depleted, and you can actually do this live. You'll be sleeping in the daytime, but just set it, say, starts at 9, at 10 amps at 9 o'clock, and then just see if it's still charging by 3. And if it is, you might want to up the current a little bit on average. But the main thing is, it doesn't matter if you're not fully full each day, because you'll catch up the next day. But you don't really want to pull in energy from the grid.
Okay, that's good to know, because mine is, I think, already set for 32 amp, and I didn't know if I should change it or not. But now I will change it to 10 amp.
No. So just in the car, don't do 32 amps, because that's 7 kilowatts. That's already beyond what your inverter can do. So you are pulling in from the grid, and you're wasting solar.
Can I just chip in for a couple of minutes?
Go, Richard.
Bilal, do you have a Powerwall, or any other battery storage system?
No, I don't. I'm planning to, but I don't have at the moment.
Right, because we've got a Powerwall, and we moved onto the midday saver tariff that Synergy offer now. So I actually do charge on 32 amp single phase. So what I do is I just say, look, start charging at 9 a.m, finish charging at 3 p.m. Just go hard. Just go 32 amp, and if it draws off the grid, okay, it's only costing 8 cents a kilowatt hour. When we're exporting the power, we're getting 7 cents a kilowatt hour. So it's like, well, I'm pretty much rationalizing that it's the same. It's also pulling to charge the Powerwall up if there's not enough solar. So if it's coming off the solar and going into the car, great. If it pulls a bit off the grid, great. If it's filling up the Powerwall as well, then great. So I would say that, definitely what the guys are saying, probably don't charge at 32 amp if you're not under those conditions. But for us, under the conditions of having a Powerwall and the midday saver, it actually does kind of work for us.
Sure. So having a Powerwall, then it's okay. But otherwise, 10 amp is great.
Well, I think the Powerwall will insulate you from the expensive time of 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. So sorry, Harold.
No, that's cool. So Bilal, just go to take it off 32. So go to and you can do this on your, if you're plugged in now, you can just go to your app and reduce the current on your app, and it'll remember, your car will remember to do that every time it's at home. So that current you select is only for home. If you go anywhere else, it's the default, full current. But yeah, no, take it off 32 amps because you're definitely wasting energy.
No, definitely
You're wasting
will do.
grid energy. So take it to, take it to 10 amps because at 10 amps, if you start at 9, and let's say it takes over 6 hours from 9 till 3, that's, you'll get 6 times 14 basically, which is 84 kilometers of range added over 6 hours.
Yeah, that's more than enough. Yeah, that's more
There you
than
go.
enough. That
And
will be
at 10
cool.
amps, it's only 2.5 kilowatts. And even by 9 o'clock, your 6.6 kilowatt system mostly should be producing in excess of 2.5 kilowatts by 9 a.m. these days.
Yeah.
Harold, what's that app? Is it Charge HQ? You know, where it's actually like a web interface, and it can only, and then you can set it so that you give it your inverter and your car details, and then it only puts in excess solar. So
What inverters? Which inverter?
What inverter have you got, Bilal?
Yeah,
I've got 5 kilowatt grow watt.
Does it work on grow watt?
I'll have to check.
Let me have a look. Yeah.
Hey, I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Yeah, cool. No worries, Jared.
See you,
Take care, mate.
Hey, Jared.
All right, mate.
Take care, lads.
Stay safe. See you, mate.
Yeah, I was going to use Charge HQ, but then the midday saver thing came out, so I ended up never bothering in the end.
While you're looking, we might as well just see this asteroid get smacked by a $300 million space probe, and that's like the debris coming off it. That's actually not the little asteroid; that's the big one. And this will just repeat. Here's another image of it as it gets hit.
Whoa.
A huge plume of ejecta comes off it.
That's awesome. No, I don't think it works with grow watt. Not according to the list. Actually, if I go to the full list.
Anyone I see a Cybertruck hat in the screen. No, it's all good, Pete. No, just taking the wee. It's all good.
Yeah, I can't see it in there on the list either.
Shame.
It may be a no-go there, Bilal.
Yeah.
But that's an API. It uses the API of your inverter website and of Tesla's API, and it roughly matches the current to what your inverter is producing. But look, if you just pick as an example 10 amps and you can gain 84 k's an hour in 6 hours, you're probably home and hosed as a simple solution, as a rough solution. But yeah, take it off 32 amps because it's definitely pulling on the grid.
For those that might be interested, watching at home, it only supports Fronius, SolarEdge, SunGrow, Tesla Solar, which
Sorry, what was the second one, Pete?
So Fronius, SolarEdge, SunGrove, Tesla Solar, or Goodwe. So
yeah, cool. And Tesla Solar is incidentally not available in Australia anyway.
Yeah,
so,
no.
Because it's just too expensive. But in Australia has some of the cheapest.
Solar towers that I was talking to them, and apparently it will take another maybe 4 to 5, if not 10 years to come to Australia for solar towers from Tesla.
Yeah,
the whole roof.
Solar in Australia is so cheap. It's just the Americans can't believe it. Like you can buy panels for less than 50 cents a watt.
But there's a reason. There's a reason for it is because we sell the Chinese our dirt, so our iron ore, our other resources. So that we've got to buy all their electronics, including the crack. There's about 2,500 different panels on the Clean Energy Council's approved list, and there's about 2,000 that you wouldn't touch with a barge pole. So, but those 2,000 panels basically just they can't be sold in the US or European markets. there's just tariffs to stop them from.
What are the panels that Tesla are using on the Texas? Is it not Trina? Longy, yeah. So I think I saw Longy panels for roughly 50 cents a watt. You know, in the States, I think I saw
they're using SolarEdge inverters, which are micro optimizers.
Yes.
Which means that, you know, you can be a little bit more forgiving with your cheaper panels.
Yeah. But the thing is, in the States, a 5 kilowatt system, 6.6/5 kilowatt system, is like $20,000 US. Well, no, it's like
seriously,
because what do you call it? The utilities, the power utilities, have all these hit fees for connection fees, and they screw the owner because they'll say, "Oh yeah, we'll come back in 6 weeks' time." Like the electrician has to install it all, and then they'll come and tag it off or whatever, and bond it to the house, and they'll say, "I will do that in 6 weeks' time," and they charge big fees for inspection fees and all that sort of stuff. So in America,
20,000.
Oh yeah, 20,000. A mate of mine, Jason, got a quote, or he was shown a quote for a 10 kilowatt system, and it was something like $50,000 US. It was just mind blowing. It's
really taking a piss, to be very honest. $20,000 is like really big stretch.
Yes, but that's just it's just weird. You'd think that the world is flat as far as pricing for things is, but in the States, it's just this anomaly. And the grids.
We can get 6.5 kilowatt and 5 kilowatt inverter systems in Australia for as cheap as $2,300 after rebate. So, but I mean, you get what you pay for.
But
something like that.
But if it fails in 5 years' time,
exactly.
What would be the payback period on a $2,500 5 kilowatt system?
It'd be about 2 years, but it's a false economy, Harold, because that means you got to buy. You only just got your money back, and then you've got to buy another system. And then you only just
if it failed,
if
it failed in 2.5 years, that's right. But if it if it lasted 6 years, you know,
I think some of us, we are still using that state government credit. Like I'm still on a state government credit, what they give us like for this COVID relief and everything. So I think I still got $100 to go. So for a whole year, I haven't paid the bill.
The other interesting statistic is, this is based on the eastern states, more than 50% of Australian installed solar systems are underperforming. They're not producing the power that they should be, more than 50%. And most owners wouldn't know. And the reason why I say this is based on the eastern states, because I can't remember whether it's the ACT or New South Wales or Victoria, but 2 of those 3 have got mandatory inspections on every single system once it's installed. So one of them has to, and it's only the state regulator that can do the audit or the inspection. In the other state, it can be another private company, but they've got to be licensed to do inspections. In WA, if 2 or 3 systems out of 1,000 get inspected, we'd be lucky. So if 50% of systems in the eastern states are underperforming, you can imagine what the statistic is like in WA. And the thing is, most owners wouldn't know. So, you know, ignorance is bliss because they don't have a proper monitoring system. So, you know, and a lot of the monitoring systems that are made by the manufacturers, you know, Fronius or an SMA or, you know, Goodwee, Sungro, whatever, you know, they're not really, it's not in the manufacturer's best interest for you to have a great monitoring system. There's a conflict of interest. So, you won't get a proper monitoring system from the manufacturer.
I guess the irony with mine is that the SolarEdge monitoring is incredible, but the customer support is so crap that when you actually have a problem and you say to them, they're like, they just never deal with it.
Well, the SolarEdge is good because you have the ability to see panel level performance, which is which is great. So most installers don't give their customers access to that, but it's great if you have it. But still, you can't just look at your solar edge monitoring and answer the really two questions that every solar owner wants to know, and they want to know this within 2 seconds. Number one, is my system performing as it should? Number two, how much money did it save me last week? That's all you really want to know. And you want to know that within 2 seconds. Sure, there's other things that you want to know, and then you can dig into it. But within 2 seconds of opening your app, you should be able to, and your Solar Edge won't tell you that.
What was the first one?
Sorry?
What was the first part of that?
Well, you want to know if your system is producing what it should. So if it's because even if you look at annual figures, irradiance can fluctuate by as much as 20% from year to year. So the amount of sun that hits your silicon.
No, I've seen that.
Panel.
Yeah.
So how would you know unless you know what the weather was like during that day? And I'm not talking about weather for WA or weather for Perth, but weather for Fremantle. So unless you know that, you don't really know whether your panels have produced what they should have.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Cool. All right. So there's our solar after dark.
There's my solar rant.
All right. Speaking of rants, it's nearly 11 o'clock local time as of recording. So, we are 1 minute closer to Pete having a Cybertruck to be able to sit with his cap in. And I can't wait. Is there any last minute bits, any little anecdotes or anything?
1 million Starlink dishes have been sold.
Really?
1 million.
Yeah.
1 million dishes. Yes, absolutely. And apparently they got 700,000 customers. So I'm not quite sure how that works out. But anyway.
There's people like you, Harold, that's got 17 of them.
No, but I'm a customer. I'm two customers, me, myself, and me and myself. So I am two customers of two dishes.
I'm me, myself, and I.
Yes, that's right. That's pretty good news. Obviously, as I said, the DART mission was a success, and that was actually launched by Starlink. By SpaceX. So that was a great achievement. There's been Elon Musk has got. I just didn't have time to put it in the news, but he's proposed a eau de cologne, which is called, what was it called? Burnt something. What did he called it? I'll get it in 2 seconds. Here we go. He called it burnt hair. That's it.
There it is there.
Curtis. Oh, and Pete's already ordered one. So yes,
I have it.
Burnt hair. Where's the image of it?
There it is there, Harold.
Yeah, no, that's right. I'm trying to get, did Musk actually, didn't he have the image on Twitter? I'm trying to get the proper image. Or maybe he didn't.
Oh, there it is on his Twitter. Same.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that. That's a bit annoying. Why don't I have it?
He's defriended you, Harold.
Yeah. Well,
I think Peter is more bigger like Tesla fan than I am, or the Elon fan.
See, all I've got.
He's got everything saved up.
All I've got's that burnt hair sent for men by Singed. I don't have the photo.
It was 15 hours ago.
Oh, someone goes, "How did you get your hair back?" Asking for a friend. That is funny. I don't. Yeah, it was 15 hours. I just, for some reason, I don't have the original. The original one doesn't have an image. So how'd you get that image, Pete?
I don't know, just open up Twitter and
That's his tweet, is it? Yeah, right. Because see, this is the thread I've got, and it just has this, no image. So I just don't know why, unless it was a tweet and a reply. Oh, there it is. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Burnt hair. Yeah. So Pete, you're surmising that there's a reason for him to tweet that out, and it's not actually to do with literally creating a product. Yes, no, you're working with me? No, okay, sorry. That one, I just gave you an ace there. I just aced you on the baseline.
You did. Went straight to the keeper.
Obviously,
that one helps.
Obviously, Elon Musk he's alluding to. Excuse me while I cough my lung out. He's alluding to burning shorts, isn't he? Because it's burnt hair. Because once you've burnt the shorts, you're going to burn their hair as well, because Tesla's going to shoot up in value.
Yeah, right.
Clearly.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's just a subtle clue of what's going to happen.
I haven't.
Jeez, Pete, you told me this yourself when we were on the phone earlier today. Oh, you're just not working with me. Oh, dearie me. That's okay.
Well, on the uptake.
That's okay.
No, we should have finished at 11 o'clock. After 11 o'clock, that's my. I don't function after 11.
That's right. That's when your noggin
The
goes on
lights are on, but
snooze.
there's no one home.
All right. So if that's the case, then how would you normally round out an awesome show like this, Pete?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
The best way to do that is not coffee lungs out. Best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. And on that note, stay well, everyone. Look forward to seeing anyone at the Como Car Show this Sunday, 10 a.m. at the Wesley College in South Perth.
And save the date, 30th of October as well.
Yes, absolutely. Save that date. And then we'll also see you back next week on Ask Us Anything. So good night, everyone. Take care.
Will do. Take care. Good night.
Good night, guys. Cheers.